All right. Well, hello everybody. Hello. Welcome back to another wonderful episode. We are going to be covering the California Gubernatorial debate tonight here on Renegade Chungus YouTube. We got a couple people here. Some pretty terrible, some awfully terrible, and some mid. And one that maybe kind of balanced. Hello, Mitch. Hello, Pyro. Hey, thanks for being here, guys. Hey, like the stream, share it out if you could. So we have over here, let's start with Chad Bianco. Big time MAGA, sheriff from Riverside. Seized a bunch of ballots. Claimed fraud, was told by the court, stop, cease and desist. God. Yeah, we got him. We got Mr. Hilton over here, Fox News contributor, Trump endorsed. If you want more Fox News in politics, here you go. Yes, I am streaming the debate. We're just starting it out right now. It starts in 7 minutes. We also have Katie freaking Porter, who continues with more cringe behavior online. Cringeness. We have the billionaire, the billionaire, Tom Steyer over here, who's a billionaire, Democratic billionaire. I don't care if he's Democratic, Republican, or Independent, or I don't know, whatever. He's a billionaire who made a ton of money off of ICE detention facilities. And then we have Mr. Mahan, the mayor of San Jose, who is backed by the tech guru Epstein class oligarchy. For the most part, if you want to call it that. Then we have Javier Becerra. Probably the best as far as like qualifying candidate, but not without shade. His head campaign managers ended up getting caught stealing money from his campaign, which was a big old kind of scandal. Not big scandal. He was cleared of any wrongdoing, but he is not without scandal. All right, that's what we got here. We have a Fox News contributor, a ballot stealing Riverside MAGA sheriff, Katie motherfucking Porter, who goes off on her own on her own people, pretty harshly, a goddamn billionaire. These are the candidates. A tech-backed mayor in the most expensive city in the nation, and to own a house, and then Javier Becerra, who has a little scandal. Javier Becerra is probably, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, probably going to be the front runner if people are paying attention. He's probably the one that has me the most excited by default, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's where we're at. So that's what we got. We've got a mixty mash of people. Got a little latest out of Katie Porter. And, you know, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of hoping for a really strong female candidate for California. I really was. I was hoping for it. But Katie Porter's, it's not gonna be the one. Here we go. Here's her campaign.
I'm Katie Porter. Like most people who run for governor.
All right, hold on.
I'm Katie Porter, and I'm not like most people who run for governor. I actually get what you're going through. A single mom of 3 kids, I know what it's like to push the shopping cart. My minivan has almost 200,000 miles. I have a grown kid who may soon be living on my couch. To give Californians what they need, it's going to take standing up to Donald Trump, calling out greedy corporations, and stepping on some toes along the way. Now, could you guys please get out of my shot?
Oh my God,
I'm
dude.
Katie Porter.
So she's kind of, now she's doing a little twist on the get out of my shot deal, you know, because of the behavior she got caught doing already before. So now it's becoming a rolling joke, or at least she's trying to swing it as a joke. But goddamn, It wasn't a joke when she was screaming at one of her interns. You know? And this is all post fallout from Eric Swalwell and his absolute inability to control his penis around 20-something-year-old interns. So it is what it is, guys. This is politics in 2026. It's gross. Nobody's gonna be perfect, and I don't really see someone who's just like, oh fuck yeah, they're gonna make a huge difference. You know, it's a game changer. We're finally gonna be like Star Trek, where we all have universal healthcare, don't care about money, and become explorers of the universe. You know, it's not gonna be like that. But the least of the evils right now, in my mind, is Becerra. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's a bias of mine before getting into this. I am going to try to listen without bias to each candidate and hear what they say. It'll be a little harder for me with the MAGA. Because everything that's going on right now, all the defense of the Epstein class, all the lies, a whole lot of lies going to be heard here today. A whole lot of lies, but we're gonna try to stay fair and balanced as much as possible. But I do have bias, so I'm just gonna put that out there for now. I'm just gonna. It has to be known. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not gonna be biased. And believe me, I thought Swalwell was gonna be a good governor, but turns out he's just another one of those party boys that can't keep it where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? But for tonight, expect this.
Hey! Don't lay your palms flat on that tabletop. If you lift those palms off that turtle shell tabletop, Mr. Pooch is gonna let loose with both barrels that sawed off. There have been a lot of lies set around this dinner table here tonight, but that you can believe. Would you be so?
So get ready for the lies tonight, guys. Get ready for the lies and then let's see if they're ready. It's about 1 minute away from the stream. I think it's streaming. I think I'm on the right spot. I really hope so. If not, I'm gonna look in the background. It was kind of hard to find, but they're saying I'm in the right spot here. So. See if I can find anything else cracking off here. Latest break-ins, so I think we just gotta wait. Should be coming any second, hopefully. If not, then we're gonna have to find a new spot to go. But this should be it. Watch the newscast. That's where we're at. Republican. What was that? Let me just double check. Double check and get ready. Nope, they want my money. We should be in the right spot. Let's cut the music. It's becoming distracting by my brain. How's everybody doing tonight anyways? Yeah, Porter needs to drop out. I feel that too. Like we need to dial this in. We need to dial the fuck in with one candidate. I think Becerra's gonna be it. By we, I mean the American people. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not, but that's where we are. That's where we are. This is where we are. God, I gotta buy it. All right, whatever. Jesus. I'm going to cancel that. I think we got it here. Yeah, here we go.
On stage here tonight, and this race is wide open.
All right, here we go, guys.
The candidates are former Los Angeles Mayor, Democrat Antonio
we got it. I got it up.
Villaraigosa, former Congresswoman, Democrat Katie Porter, businessman, Democrat Tom Steyer, businessman and former television host, Republican Steve Hilton, Riverside County Sheriff, Republican Chad Bianco, former Health and Human Services Secretary, Democrat Javier Becerra, and the mayor of San Jose, Democrat Matt Mahan.
Candidates, we're about to begin, but first a review of the ground rules that your campaigns agreed to in advance. Our goal is to facilitate a fair and productive debate. Each of you will receive 1 minute to answer questions, 30 seconds for responses and rebuttals, and 15 additional seconds if one of us moderators asks you for a clarification. The timing lights in front of you will remind you of these limits.
Hardware accelerator, huh? Okay. Stand by. Black screen.
Please respect.
All right, how do I turn off the hardware accelerator? Stand by.
Black screen, lagging, video playback issues, or crashing. First, open Google Chrome. Now click on the three-dot menu from the top right corner. From here, click on Settings. On the left side, click on System. If you don't see it,
System. My system. Stand by, guys. System. There we go. I think I got it. think I got it. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat, for the reader or the fixing. There we go. All right, we're gonna go back. We're gonna start over, so we're gonna be a few seconds behind. That's fine. We're gonna be a few seconds behind. Here we go.
Of us moderators asks you for a clarification. The timing lights in front of you will remind
Thank you,
you
chat.
of
Appreciate
these
it.
limits. Please respect them and the other candidates on the stage during their allotted time.
Let's get right to it. California, as you all know, has long been a symbol of the American dream. But right now, many Californians are struggling to make ends meet. The state now has the highest unemployment rate in the nation. And according to analysis from our partner, USA Facts, it is one of only 5 states that lost population between 2024 and 2025. Secretary Becerra, given everything that I just laid out there, why did Democrats deserve another 4 years in charge?
Caitlin, because Democrats are the ones that aspire to include everyone and not leave anyone behind. Like my parents, who came with $12 in their pocket to California, and they live the California dream. My 3 sisters and I, we got to live the California dream. But it doesn't come easy. You have to work hard. My mother today still shops with coupons, and you learn that when you watch that growing up. And I know that my job as Attorney General, as Secretary of Health and Human Services, is always to help people like my parents who are working hard. And that's why I fought for our families, made sure that when Donald Trump was attacking us the first time, we went toe-to-toe with him more than 120 times. I had to sue Donald Trump to keep him from destroying our state of California. When I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, we expanded access to health care to more Americans than ever in the history of the country. We were able to negotiate lower drug prices for the first time in history for Medicare, and we proved that we could drop prices by up to 80%. If we fight to make California affordable, people will stay and they will come to this great state.
Thank you, Secretary Becerra.
It does need to be
Mr.
more
Steyer,
affordable here,
that
especially
question,
for
why
houses.
do Democrats deserve another 4 years in charge is a key
It's
one.
not over in California.
What's your response?
I'm comfy
Well,
here.
the biggest problem in California is that Californians can't afford to live here anymore. And it starts with housing, but it definitely includes healthcare. It includes electric costs, which are twice as high as in the rest of the country. And it includes soaring gasoline prices. I have a plan for every single one of those. The difference between me and everybody else is I'm willing to take on the corporate special interests.
You are
I'm
the
willing
corporate.
to push for single payer. I'm willing to take on the electric monopolies. They're spending big against me, and that proves it. I'm the change agent, and I'm the progressive.
Mayor Mahan, what's your response?
Well, Caitlin, we deserve better. I'm the only Democrat in this race who has challenged the establishment within my own party to demand better results. I've made San Jose the safest big city in the country, unblocked thousands of homes that are now under construction, led our city to reduce homelessness faster than any other city. We don't need MAGA values, but we also don't need more of the same. There's a lot of talk on this stage, but we should be honest. The experience we hear from Secretary Becerra didn't lead to better outcomes. It led to 85,000 migrant children who were lost, more fraud in our healthcare system. Tom Steyer's making a lot of false promises up here, things that the legislature already rejected.
Mahan's paid off by.
We need pragmatic,
he's backed by the tech
results-oriented
oligarchs.
leadership. I know what's at stake. I grew up in a working class family. We were paycheck to paycheck growing
talking
up.
people that run
I will fight
Epstein
every
Island
day
are
to
backing
make
him.
life better for working
Deadass.
Californians.
Mr. Steyer, do you want to respond to that?
I absolutely do. I will, on the first day, call a special election to close a corporate real estate tax loophole that's worth over $20 billion.
It's convenient
The
to close
truth
it after
is-
you've profited from
The
it.
truth is that the California government needs more money because Donald Trump
Get
is
him.
kicking 1 to 3 million people off Medi-Cal, and our school system needs more money to support teachers and students. And I'm the only person on this stage that will go after corporations and raise the revenue we need to have
you,
a
Mr.
system
Steyer.
that actually works for California.
So raising
He's a
taxes
joke.
Mr.
He's a
Hilton,
liar.
can I get you to weigh in on this prospect as voters are facing this as they go and they're getting their ballots now?
So, Caitlin and Alex, it's interesting. We've already seen a couple of things that we'll probably see a lot of in this debate, which is the Democrats who are here who've been responsible for 16 years of one-party rule for everything that we see in California, won't take responsibility, and all they can talk about is Trump. Look, I was asked how I'm preparing for this debate the other day, and my answer was, the meetings, the thousands of people that have come to our events the last year in California. I've traveled to every part of the state. I've seen the struggle and the stories. And that is my struggle and my stories. My parents were immigrants. The California dream is my dream, and I want
you,
that
Mr.
for
Hilton.
every
He has no
single
policy.
one of you watching out there.
And Mr.
We
Hilton,
can get it back.
This is
You
Trump's
heard Mayor
endorsed guy.
Mahan invoke MAGA values in his answer there. There are more than 2/3 of registered voters in this state who disapprove of President Trump's job performance.
That's your guy?
Why should voters who are unhappy with the performance of the president vote for the candidate that he's endorsed in this race?
So they should vote for the candidate who's got a concrete plan to make our state Cal affordable. $3 gas, cut your electric bills in half, your first 100 grand tax-free, a home you can afford to buy. It's common sense, practical things. Most of my career has been in business. I know how to get things done, and we need to change. We need some fresh thinking after 16 years of one-party rule from these Democrats that have given us the highest poverty rate, as you mentioned, the highest unemployment rate, and the highest cost of living in the country.
Mr. Hilton,
Secretary Becerra, go ahead.
Mr. Hilton, how can you say that Democrats have it wrong when you can't admit that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? The fact is, all you do is point at Democrats, scream.
But
at
you have been in
Democrats,
charge for 16
and don't
years.
Who's this guy
have anything else
talking?
to say. And I want to chime in on what Matt Mahan said. He's not the only Democrat that's challenged his party. I have as well, and I have for a long time.
What's this guy
Alex, you
doing?
said a few months ago that I've
Former
been talking
mayor of
about
Los Angeles.
affordability for years. I've been challenging my party for years because it's been Democrats that brought us here. But I can also challenge Donald Trump and say very clearly that he lost the election in 2020. You can't, Mr. Hilton.
Thank you, Mayor Villaraigosa.
I would-
Mr. Hilton, I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
And I'll get a chance to respond to Mr. Mahan's attack as well.
Mr. Hilton, go ahead.
It's not Donald Trump who's given us gas prices $2 higher than the rest of the country. It's Democrat policies, which Antonia and all the Democrats here support. It's not Donald Trump that's given us the highest housing costs in the country. It's Democrat policies that all these Democrats support. Donald Trump is the president in all the other states of America where the cost of living is way lower than in California. Obviously, it is way past time for change in California, and endlessly going on about Donald Trump doesn't serve the needs of the struggling families and small businesses.
Can you
Mr.
say
Hilton.
whether or not he
Secretary
won the
Becerra-
election?
Secretary Becerra, go ahead.
So Mr. Mahan chose to divert from answering the question about affordability to launch attacks. What I would simply say to him is, let's focus on who's raising the cost of living in California the most. And that's Donald Trump. The price of gas has gone up $1 to $2 because of Donald Trump and his war in Iran. The price of goods, groceries have gone up in California because of Donald Trump's illegal tariffs.
You
Let's
see, all
focus
they
on
can
who's
say
raising
is
not
the
true.
most.
That's
All
just
they've
not
got.
true.
We
We've
can
had the
be-
highest gas prices on average over $2 than the rest of the nation for a very long time.
Antonio's
Trump's made
right
it
about
worse
that.
for sure.
Boys.
But it's not.
Boys.
Villaraigosa,
Boys.
Enough with
Villaraigosa,
the
I'll get right back
bickering.
to you, but Congressman Porter, I mean, to this question in and of itself, you're a Democrat who served in Washington. What's your response?
Look, California does need to make changes. The world is changing around us. We are seeing AI come and present real challenges with jobs. The pace of climate change is real. We have an unreliable federal partner who's made clear that California is going to attack California. Donald Trump has not made any bones about that. This is a real opportunity for California to set its eyes on the future. We do need to make change in California. And it is ridiculous for Mr. Steyer to claim that he's the only candidate that has taken on corporations, when I will tell you there are a lot of CEOs who've been whiteboarded who would beg to differ.
Thank you,
Can I
Congressman.
respond
Sheriff
to that?
Bianco, we haven't heard from you. Let me get your response.
Well, thank you. I just want to actually answer your question. Was why do Democrats deserve it? You just listened to probably 10, 15 minutes of why they don't. We are going to get nothing but the same from them. They brought us here. Every single one of these career politicians brought us to the point where we are here today. They do not deserve another chance. They have broken us with endless regulations that have destroyed California.
How's
destroyed our
Becerra an
businesses,
establishment
destroyed
hack?
the cost of gas. We need a unbelievable change to get back. And unfortunately for all of them, I'm the only one on this stage that has spent a career making California lives better.
We're going to
No,
talk
I'm not
about
just
the
gonna let them
economy now.
talk.
We'll get you in a moment, Mr. Steyer.
I'm not going to let him talk. This is my stream. I'm going to talk. If I have something to add, I'm going to add to it. If you don't like it, get fucked.
Are skyrocketing due in part to the Iran war, the highest prices right here in
Love you too.
California.
Hit the like, subscribe.
Mayor Mahan, it costs $6 right now or more to fill up buy a gallon of gas in this state. Your opponent, Mr. Hilton, is promising to bring that price down to $3 a gallon in his first year in office. Is that realistic?
No, it obviously isn't. Look, I grew up in a farming town. I know what it means when the cost of gas goes up $1. People start actually having to make really tough trade-offs. Can you pay the rent? Can you put food on the table? I'm the only candidate in this race who has called for a suspension of the gas tax because
That's not true.
It disproportionately harms working families. We need to reform this tax and make sure EV owners and higher income earners are paying their fair share. But the truth is, Javier Becerra is misleading when he blames all of our cost issues on Donald Trump. I've fought against Trump. We've sued the Trump administration. We've blocked his cruel immigration enforcement tactics. But California's problems have been long running. We don't need more career politicians supported by the insiders in Sacramento. The truth is we had the highest housing costs, highest energy costs, some of the highest unemployment and poverty rates in the country for years, long before Donald Trump ran for president. We need more pragmatic policies, removing regulations that are in the way,
sir.
reducing fees.
Mr. Hilton, to you, and then Secretary Becerra. Mr. Hilton.
So Matt says that it's obviously impossible to get to $3 gas, as I've laid out in my plan. Before the Iran war, there were 40 states in America with $3 gas or lower, most of which don't have the abundant oil reserves that we have in California. But because of the policies supported by Matt and all these Democrats, we are now shipping oil halfway around the world, 7,500 miles from places like Iraq, instead of opening up California oil and gas production so we can reduce costs and get $3 gas in California, which is my plan.
Steve, you know why we have those higher standards is because in places like Los Angeles, where we are today, it used to be that you couldn't breathe. Kids would have higher asthma rates.
It is right there. I remember Sacramento. It was gross.
We can bring down costs over time, but it's
technology that's delivered
totally unrealistic that you're going to have $3 gas in a year. You're lying to
Secretary,
only in a Democrat state.
Secretary Becerra.
Well, I'm fascinated to see people argue that we should get rid of the funding for the roads so we can take care of potholes, the highways, so we can make sure that we don't have massive congestion, or our transit systems, by getting rid of the one way we fund those systems the most, the gas tax. If we were to get rid of the Trump gas tax, we would be able to save ourselves about $1 to $2 at least, just in the Trump gas tax as a result of his war in Iran. Let's start focusing where the real problem is. And yes, I'm going to repeat Donald Trump as often as I have to, because he's the real menace we have in California.
You've got nothing else to say.
Your perspective.
So let me say this. This war in Iran has driven up the gas by at least $1.50. And the truth is, we should be taxing the oil companies because they are getting a windfall profit as a result of the war that the president that they put into office started for no apparent reason. We should be taxing that money. We should send it directly to California's pockets, not to the government of California. And let me say this. Being in bed with oil companies is a mistake.
He doesn't sound like a
Becerra
Democrat.
has taken the max amount of money from Chevron, and he has said they're good guys that we need. The truth of the matter is the oil companies are ripping us off at the pump. They're polluting our air, and they're burning up the
Thank you,
planet.
sir. Secretary Becerra, your response.
Yeah, it's a rich response from a guy who made his billions investing in fossil fuels, in oil companies, in coal companies. Now he makes the billions, and he has spent more than every other candidate combined in his campaign, using those profits to now try to buy his seat in the governor's office. Tom, the last thing we need is someone who makes riches from investing in oil companies and then accuse everyone else of doing the wrong thing.
Can I
Steyer.
Look, I walked away from my company 14 years ago so I could give back to California. I am the person on this stage who is fighting the oil companies. And the way that you know is they're spending millions of dollars to prevent me from getting elected.
Well, why not give back your billions of dollars?
It's a trap. I don't trust fucking Steyer at all.
And the truth of the matter is, every environmentalist in this state has endorsed me.
All right,
and the people who are opposing me, you can just follow the money. The oil companies, the electric monopolies are spending tens of millions of dollars against me. The environmentalists are to a person supporting me. That's what's going on in this election.
Let's talk about the proposed billionaire tax. Just last week, a one-time 5% tax on the assets of billionaires cleared a critical hurdle to make the ballot in November, setting up a clash over what could be the nation's first wealth tax.
Yeah, Steyer is
Congresswoman
crazy.
Porter, Mr. Steyer,
The fucking
as we
billionaire.
just
He
referenced,
doesn't
is
think
the
of us.
only billionaire on the stage. He supports this tax. You do not. Why not?
Because I support good ideas, not things that help me dodge political potholes due to my own background. This billionaire's tax is simply not good tax policy. And anybody who has watched me in Congress take on bank CEOs, take on pharma CEOs, challenge them for the fact that their workers can't make ends meet while they're pocketing $26 million a year, knows that I will speak truth to power. And here is the truth. This tax isn't going to fundamentally change California's economy in the way that young people and the working people of California need. It's a one-time tax, but we don't have one-time revenue needs. It taxes billionaires, as if half billionaires don't have two nickels to rub together and couldn't chip in a little bit more. And 90% of the money is dedicated to only one thing, when we have all kinds of revenue problems coming at us from our own decisions and Donald Trump. So yes, to a progressive tax code. Yes, to the wealthy paying more. But this tax is about cheap political points. It is not about really fundamentally changing California's economy for the better. That's going to take real political courage.
Mr. Steyer, just about cheap political points, your response?
No. I have said that billionaires like me should pay more taxes and the big corporations should pay more taxes.
Excuse me,
and
you
that's
literally
why,
said...
if this proposition is on the ballot in November, I'll vote for it. But going forward, we do need to go further. This is a one-time tax. And it
Steyer
also
needs to go
doesn't
away.
spread the money across the government the way everything else does.
LJ
And
Bloom, member for 2
specifically,
months. Thank you.
it doesn't go
Happy
to
tap that like
education
button.
and teachers and students, which is a critical need in the state of California. The tax I'm proposing to close a corporate real estate tax loophole is more money, and it's spread throughout
I'm
the
the only
not-
candidate
I
that's
have not
actually
gotten-
balanced two budgets.
Congresswoman.
I'm confused. Do you support the billionaire's tax that is going to be on the ballot in November, yes or no?
Katie, I just said I will vote for it if it's on the ballot in November.
Dude, you hear his
And
voice?
so what I've said is,
But you
Turn
just
into
said it
Darth
was a good
Vader.
idea.
go far enough that in fact it is a one-time tax, and it also doesn't spread the money throughout the government. Look,
Let me weigh
we
in.
have an
I'm the
education
only
system
candidate that's
begging for
actually
money.
balanced two budgets.
We're going to bring Sheriff Bianco in first, and then we'll get to you, Mr. Mayor. Sheriff Bianco.
Thank you. So these Democrat policies of
God,
tax
here we
everybody
go.
to death and make them leave is how we started this program off to begin with. Everyone is leaving California, and it's because of their horrific policies. I agree with Katie that this is a horrific tax bill, but she is wrong on one thing. This is not a billionaire tax bill. You just have to read it and read what it is. I have spent my career suffering the consequences of their decisions and their policy that they love talking about. I am the one that deals with it.
Oh my God,
And
here we
this,
go.
the
I'm the victim.
140,000 people that are paying 50% of the
victimhood.
taxes are going to leave. And then the wording of that makes the middle class and the lower middle class make up all those taxes.
Thank you, sir. The next question goes to you,
I'm
Mr.
not- Bianco's-
Mayor Villaraigosa. In the last 7 years, Fortune 500 companies such as Oracle, Chevron, Charles Schwab, Palantir have all moved
Who
their
the fuck
headquarters
is this
out
guy?
of California.
He wasn't even in the last debate.
Mayor Villaraigosa,
This
your
guy's
opponent, Congresswoman Porter here, wants to raise taxes on the most profitable corporations. Would her plan
Doesn't
lead
even
to
have a
more
percent.
businesses leaving the state?
Yes. But let me just say, I'm the only candidate on this stage that's actually balanced two state budgets with a surplus and a tax cut. And I could tell you this, we over rely on the upper income tax. That's why you have feast and famine virtually every year. So the problem with the billionaire tax, it's a one-time tax. It's flawed. If I believe that people that make that kind of money ought to pay more. In fact, when I'm governor, people like
You're not even
Tom,
polling,
who
dude.
want to pay more will be
He's
able
not
to do
even
that.
fucking polling.
But at the end of the day, the federal government should do it because people are leaving, and they've been leaving because of the threat of this tax, just as businesses have been leaving because of the high tax state that we are.
Congresswoman Porter, your response in terms of your tax plan.
Yeah, look, I think all taxes should be progressive. And I think that is a core principle. And families get this. When they get a bonus, when they earn a little more, they trip up into a different tax bracket and they have to pay more.
40%.
That's all I'm suggesting we do for corporations. And by the way, not only would that say to the corporation that has a banner year and makes $1 billion, you pay not the same rate. Maybe you pay a tiny bit higher rate so that we can provide tax relief for families earning less than $100,000.
Mayor Mahan, your thoughts in terms of taxing businesses?
Yeah, look, where I differ with my Democratic colleagues is they're all talking about how to raise revenue, make government bigger. Secretary Becerra always brags about how big the $1 trillion budgets were that he managed. I'm interested in making government better. The answer isn't always bigger. In San Jose, without raising taxes, with a balanced budget, we got thousands of homes under construction. We moved thousands of people indoors and led the state in reducing homelessness. We made our city the safest big city in the country, reduced gun violence by 71%. Californians are tired of the more of the same policies.
On my wall.
We also, I think it's disqualifying that we have Republican candidates who are embracing Donald Trump's cruel and ineffective policies.
Let's go, Mr. Hilton, to you, and then we'll get Secretary Becerra in for his response. Mr. Hilton, disqualifying is what Mayor Mahan said.
It is.
There's a very simple truth, which everyone in California knows, which is that taxes are too high and we need taxes to be lower. And they're especially too high for working people in California. You got people on 70, 80, 90 grand in California, which doesn't get you very far, who are paying 9.3% state income tax. That is higher than the top rate in most other states. That's why my plan eliminates state income tax under 100 grand. And by the way, if you think that it can't get worse in California,
He's so full
I've
of
got
shit.
two words
I'm
for
sorry.
you. Tom Steyer. Under Tom Steyer, the taxes will be higher, gas prices will be higher, everything will be higher with Steyer.
Okay, we'll go to Steyer, then we'll go back to Becerra.
That's clever.
Mr. Steyer.
That is clever.
I do think it's rich to hear someone talk about $3 gas who is owned by Donald Trump, who has driven up the gas price by at least $1.50. And I do think it's rich for somebody who is
not as rich
supporting
as
a
you, Tom.
president who's kicking 1 to 3
These guys
million
are in on
people
it.
off
Both these
Medi-Cal.
guys. I don't
The
trust them.
poorest
I think
people,
they're
most vulnerable people
back and forth
in California,
doing
so
the
that he
weave.
can lower the taxes on the richest Americans and the biggest corporations. The truth of the matter is, what I
Hilton
stand
and
for
Steyer.
is shared prosperity, real growth, supporting businesses, but sharing it work so that the people in California get what they need.
Thank you.
And going after corporate special interests is the way we're going to drive down costs. For
Thank you, Mr. Steyer. Secretary Becerra, Mayor Mahan suggested that you're interested in growing the size of government. He says he wants to cut it. Your response
I didn't
to
say
that?
I want to cut it. I said I want to use the revenue we have today to make government better. We need to demand Sacramento do better before we ask working people to pay more. All of Tom Steyer's proposals will just increase cost.
Secretary Becerra.
Mayor Mahan should take a look at my record and he'll realize that the largest health enterprise in the world, the Department of Health and Human Services, is big. It's because we have to make sure we're doing everything to improve the health care for 333 million Americans. And we balanced our budget 4 years in a row. So, Matt, here's the thing. I've been able to balance budgets much larger than your city of San Jose and make sure that we continue to improve healthcare for more Americans.
And Becerra hasn't
But on
taken
the issue
APAC
of
money,
taxes,
and he's
here's-
not backed
here's
by
the
the
point.
tech oligarchs.
Everyone should pay their fair share. No one can claim that a CEO who's making more than 1,000 times more than their line workers is paying their fair share. And Tom, one of these days, let us know how much money you have in the Cayman Islands so we can make sure we tax you. Your fair share.
Okay, I'm going to answer that because I pay full taxes on everything. I'm invested in all over the world, and I pay full California and U.S. taxes on absolutely everything. That's not fair. But what is fair is this.
And we'll
I'm going to drive down costs. The idea that
You
that
use
said,
every
I'm
tax
gonna drive
loophole
down
available.
costs by
You pay the
going
lowest
at-
tax
I am
rate
going to
of anyone
drive
on this
down
stage.
costs by going after the electric monopoly that no one else here will take on. We're going to introduce competition. I'm going to go after the oil companies, make them pay for their pollution, and have a windfall profits tax.
Look.
I am going to drive down costs for working people, and that will not only work for them, it will work for the corporations who employ them and make them more competitive.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer. Mr. Mahan, your chance.
Yeah, I have to go back to this point about it's not always about the size of the budget or how big government is.
But being able
What
to
did we-
balance it is an important point,
Yeah,
Matt.
but Javier,
I think you have to admit that.
Here's what I would ask you to acknowledge, which is you keep referencing your experience as your main qualification, but what have those 30 years of experience gotten us?
More
AG,
Americans insured than
healthcare.
ever in
No,
the
hold on.
history
Let
of
me
the
finish.
country.
Let me finish.
Well, you asked the question.
Higher and less affordable health care that's squeezing.
Actually, not on my watch. We
Squeezing
reduced
out.
the price
No,
of
we did not.
healthcare on my
Healthcare costs have gone up relentlessly.
You haven't
health
talked to the millions
outcomes.
of Americans we helped
If I
insure.
could just finish my point.
Well, you have to make sure you're saying something that's factual.
Okay, it's pretty. You can go look at the data. Healthcare costs.
That's right. Look
are
at the data.
up.
We were able to
Health
get more
out-
Americans insured than ever in the
Do you
history.
mind
of
if
the
I just finish the point?
Mr.
And then
Mayor,
you can- yeah,
finish
I
your
just-
point,
three-
and then
three
Secretary
really-
Mr. You'll
one
get
at
it.
a
We're
time.
gonna-
Go away,
Three
man.
really quick points. Yeah, I'll just
Come on, can we
make it
talk
quickly
about the
and then
issues?
you guys
California
can
is
go on.
not
I'll be prepared
destroyed.
to fact check
I live
you,
here.
Bill.
It is fine.
When it's your turn, go ahead.
It's a nice sunny
So,
day.
Higher healthcare costs that are squeezing families
Little
today, worse health outcomes, and as fraudulent and wasteful spending in healthcare grew, Javier Becerra did nothing as AG and as HHS
Gotta fact check
secretary.
that one.
Well, it's as bad as ever, and you've been in a career politician.
That's
So-
time, Secretary Becerra.
Yeah,
Balanced the
totally.
budget during COVID. What
Man,
the
that
fuck?
sounds like a MAGA talking point.
Yep.
Listen,
No, it's just
under,
the facts.
under my watch, more Americans gained health coverage than ever in the history of the country, more than 300 million. Under my watch, we were able to give folks access to the Obamacare insurance policies on the marketplace for, in some cases, $10 or less a month in premiums. Today, those are skyrocketing, and people are losing those premiums and insurance coverage because Donald Trump abandoned those health care subsidies.
Thank you, Secretary.
Learn the
Becerra.
facts, Matt, before you start talking
We're
on the
going to
stage.
come back to healthcare because obviously it's a huge topic for everyone in this state. I want to turn to another critical issue, not just in California, but also in the entire nation, which is immigration, as all of you know.
Universal
Mr. Hilton,
health care
right now,
for all
President Trump
Americans.
is enacting a
It's not
policy of
impossible.
mass deportation. As
should
you
have
know,
it.
roughly half of California farm workers, which are an essential part of this state's economy, are undocumented. As governor, would you push to deport them?
So I'm the only immigrant on stage. I'm a legal immigrant, and Americans support immigration when it is properly controlled. And what we saw under the Biden administration, open borders, undermined everybody's support for immigration. And as governor, I've made it very clear, although it is the federal government's responsibility to determine and implement immigration policy, I think it's important that all the laws are peacefully enforced. And as governor, I would make sure that we work with the federal government to enforce our laws.
So
That
you'll
is what
deport
people
them.
expect.
So
That
just
is
to
what
clarify,
people
Mr. Hilton,
expect.
do you support deporting those undocumented farm workers?
The policy on deportation is the exact same policy that we saw with President Obama. In fact, the numbers of deportations right now in our country and in California are slightly
But just to
lower.
clarify
than-
your
Can you answer
position.
the question,
Just to clarify
Steve?
your
I've answered the
position.
question, which is I will work.
Will you
with-
deport them?
It's
That
not-
was the question.
Well, would you, Antonio, because the governor of California, as you know, doesn't make that decision. It is the president of the United States elected by the country.
Will you oppose
that
them?
determines-
Six
that
of the
determines-
people here don't even know who deports anyone. They just want emotions to rule the day, so you support them because they don't even know what the governor can and can't do. Or if they do, they're lying to you.
What
Congresswoman
type of
Porter.
fucking sheriff gospel
I can't
was that?
believe that on a stage with 30 minutes of interrupting and bickering and name calling and shouting and disrespect.
Oh, now
for
she's the
everyone up
fucking
here
level
who's
one.
stepping into public service, that anyone wants to talk about my temperament.
What
You were
the
actually interrupting them too. I don't know why you want to act like you weren't.
Oh, cowboy
Steve and
cupcakes.
Steve and I sat here smiling at each other because we're just watching you all prove to everyone why they can't vote for a Democrat.
Exactly.
Who's
I'll
everyone?
answer the question.
Congresswoman Porter, first off, do you
I'll
want
vote for a
to respond to that
Democrat. I was a
from Sheriff
Republican for 20
Bianco?
years.
Yes, I did not interrupt. I did not go back and forth.
Jesus.
Mr. Bianco, you've been very well behaved tonight, especially compared to CBS, and I actually appreciate it that you've been waiting your turn and following the rules. And I would appreciate it if everybody could do that, because I think Californians are actually owed some answers to questions.
We were told we can interject.
Congresswoman Porter, on the question itself on these farm workers, which are a big part of California's economy, what's your answer to that? As Mr. Hilton is saying, it's the decision of the federal government.
It's the job of the governor to protect every single Californian. period. There are no qualifications on that.
Are you
If
doing
are
that?
living-
Are you doing that by having a sanctuary state policy? Absolutely not. And
Yeah.
I was on the stage telling
Yes.
everyone what was going to
I
result
would like to get
from sanctuary
one
state,
complete
and it's forcing
answer.
forcing
you
us to be
interrupt.
less safe.
May I give an answer?
Go ahead.
Welcome,
It's the
Kate.
job
Absolutely.
of the California governor to protect every single Californian. The sanctuary state policy is designed to make sure that our state resources, the taxpayer dollars, the public servants that we have,
Al-Qaeda in the
are
house.
focusing on doing their
Oh, God.
jobs, which is not cooperating with the federal immigration authorities. These are Californians. They contribute to our economy. They pay taxes, and they're one of the only ways that our state has been growing in recent years.
Mayor Villaraigosa?
Yeah, Kate Porter's got to go.
You say you're a sheriff, and I know you are, but you clearly don't know what the sanctuary law does.
I'm the only one up here that has to work with it.
Mr. Bianco, excuse me. The fact is, since 2019, the state has turned over 12,000 violent criminals to the federal government. Sanctuary law does not protect violent criminals in the way that you constantly say they do.
Oh, yes, it does.
We've turned over, this state has turned over 12,000 criminals. I'll tell you what I think is illegal is a sheriff of Riverside County sequestering
yeah.
It's because you're
thousands
lying
of
to
votes
people.
in the way that you did.
It's because you're
And
lying
the
to people
Supreme
right now.
Court said that you
No,
shouldn't
they
have done
didn't.
it in the first place.
No, they didn't.
Can I interject on this?
Caitlin, can I go?
Go ahead, Mr. Becerra, Secretary Becerra.
So I'm the only one who actually has experience taking on Trump in the way he's handling undocumented immigrants, because when he was president the first time, I was the attorney general, and we took him on straight on in court. We stopped him from trying to force local law enforcement to do the bidding of ICE. We were able to make sure we protected the DACA program for our dreamers all the way to the Supreme Court, and we beat Donald Trump. What we have to do is make sure that Trump cannot invade California, and you can't stop him if you've got a governor like Steve Hilton, who is his dad.
Or
Donald
Steyer.
Trump's his daddy, and he will protect them all the way through.
Thank you, Secretary Becerra. Mr. Hilton, I'll let you respond to that, and
Or
I have a question
Bianco.
for you, Mr. Steyer, after that.
I don't want to respond to silly name calling, but I'd like to.
Antonio
actually respond
is
to
gone.
something
I don't know
Katie
why he's
said.
doing there.
And I think it's probably a sincere policy difference between us. She said something very revealing, which is the only way really that California's economy has been growing in the last few years is through illegal immigration. And I just don't think that's the right way for us to be growing. I think we need to help small businesses create jobs and opportunity, and for Californians to be able to
Rob Q,
earn
no,
more
fuck you.
and
I
live
don't
the
like you.
California dream.
Don't tell me
And
what
for
to do.
entrepreneurs to want to start businesses in California. That's
Shame
how
on
we
you.
should be growing our economy, not by illegal immigration.
Congresswoman Porter?
I mean, given that you're an immigrant and you added to our
A legal
population
immigrant.
and we're all having to live with the consequences of that decision.
Katie, there's a difference I think you'll accept between legal and illegal immigration.
Yes, and I wasn't referring to, I was saying that immigration has been a major source of growth in California's economy, and that is true.
Thank you,
Okay, let me say
Congresswoman.
this.
Mr. Steyer, I've got a question for you on immigration, because you want California's Attorney General to be able to hold both ICE agents and their leadership criminally liable for what you say is, quote, violent illegal conduct on the job. Does that include the former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who oversaw the ICE operations in Los Angeles last year?
Look, the governor of California should hold people accountable who break the laws of California, specifically including ICE agents and the people who send them to racially profile, which is illegal, and use violence against Californians, which is illegal. And it should go up the chain to the supervisors, right up to Stephen Miller. If he's sending people to racially profile and hurt Californians or kill Californians, he should be held liable. It is not legal for federal agents to come to California and break the law. It is
Miller has too
absolutely
many
critical
fall guys for that.
California's
He won't get-
governor
he won't get
does
in
stand
trouble.
up for everyone in California. That in fact, ICE to me is a criminal operation. I've said all along, we should abolish ICE. It's breaking the law. It is coming here deliberately to break the law. And that's why I'm saying we should hold them accountable. We should inspect the detention centers that they have in secret.
So just to
we
clarify,
should have a
Mr.
legal
Steyer,
defense fund. Yes,
just to
I do. I don't know. I would go all the way up the chain. I've gone as far as Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller should be held accountable for what the ICE agents do in California that he sends.
But just to clarify, since Kristi Noem was the Senate-confirmed Department of Homeland Security Secretary, do you believe that she is someone who should be prosecuted?
If she has given the orders to break the law in California, yes.
Sheriff
Caitlin,
Bianco, what's
be
your
able
response to that?
prove it.
No one has broken the law in California. And this is why we fight in the streets and people are out rioting, burning down Los Angeles, because politicians like this sit and lie to everyone. They get them all infuriated.
Couple dumpsters at a gas station.
Because they don't want to tell the truth. ICE agents are enforcing the law. And sanctuary state policy, Democrats forced ICE into our cities and streets and neighborhoods to find these criminals. And I want Mr. Villaraigosa to tell the mother of the 14-year-old in my county that is dead because of an illegal immigrant that had been deported 3 times because of DUIs that sanctuary state policy keeps us safe. I don't think she's going to agree with you. And the mother of my dispatcher that was killed is not going to agree with you.
Mayor Villaraigosa, do you want to
If
respond?
an undocumented worker killed somebody, he should go to jail. He should be prosecuted.
It's too late, don't you think? How about the 3
Sarah's
DUIs
not paid by APAC.
before that?
Finish?
No.
Or do you want to be the bully that you always are?
No,
You know, you're an oath keeper. We all know that.
and I'm very proud of it.
No,
Oh,
you should-
I'm very proud of
There
it.
it
And
is.
guess what? You're
I'm
going to
sorry.
swear an oath, and you swore an oath. You should know what you were
Well,
swearing
I'm
and be
sorry.
proud of defending
I
it.
don't think an oath keeper is qualified to be governor.
I don't think
of
you know what
California.
an oath keeper
But
is.
let me answer the question. I said, if an undocumented person committed murder, they should be held accountable. They should go to jail. And you keep on saying that sanctuary prevents violent criminals from
No,
being
I didn't.
turned over.
I said it prevents
In fact,
criminals.
as I said earlier.
I said it prevents criminals. Don't lie for
in
me.
In fact, as I said earlier, thousands have been turned over since 2019.
Obviously
And
not
with
enough.
Steve Hilton, let me be clear. You know, I know you're recently arrived to California, but if you've read the Bay Area Institute, the UC Merced study, immigrants, if
Thank
we
you,
took
Mr.
them
Mayor.
all out, including the undocumented, it would be a $274
Thank you,
billion
Mr. Mayor.
hit to the
Caitlin.
California
Sheriff Bianco,
economy.
just to follow up on what you were just saying there, and you said you're a proud oath keeper. Are you referring to the group?
I have sworn an oath 3 times to
Or you're
defend my
referring to taking
Constitution.
an oath and-
yes,
as your
and
job?
everybody that wants to, like, again, lie and emotionally get all spun up about the Oath Keeper organization, I just would, before you do that, and I know none of you have, I want you to go read the mission statement of
Oh,
the Oath
yeah,
Keeper
he
mission
is
statement
one.
and the
I saw that
God
on
damn,
CNN
dude.
attacking the
and
Capitol.
and the ACLU. I saw
Fucking
politicians
pieces of
molesting
shit,
kids.
dude.
Does that mean you molest kids?
What?
Exactly. Don't pull those stupid statements out and
sir,
expect to not
sir,
be
you're
called
an oath
out.
keeper.
But Sheriff Bianco,
You
just
have
to be
no
clear-
reason to.
There is
you're
absolutely-
not qualified
I
to
just
be
wanna
governor of
clarify.
California.
I am extremely proud of swearing an oath to defend my Constitution against politicians like this.
And do you
guy's a
still
goon.
consider yourself a member of that group, to be clear?
No.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff Bianco. Secretary Becerra, on the question itself, do you also support prosecuting the leadership of ICE?
I think we should police Donald Trump's masked mercenary force that they call ICE. I think we should prosecute any of the forces that violate the law. And I think we should jail anyone who has violated the law. That goes all the way to the top.
I
If
agree.
anyone has violated the laws of California, they should serve time.
And I'm telling you, no one has.
That's, there are 2 people who are dead in Minneapolis because they were simply doing
Don't
their
lie.
civic duty and being able to
Your
act
civic
under the
duty is
Constitution.
bringing a gun and fighting with cops. Your civic duty is to try and run over cops.
Your
Come
civic
on.
duty is
You-
storming
you've
the
already
Capitol.
been
A
called
lot
out
of
about
oath
your other
keepers
There's-
brought
the evidence-
guns to the
the evidence
Capitol,
will come out.
Mr.
Let's
Bianco.
just be honest.
Sheriff Bianco, as the member of law enforcement here, last week the Department of Justice sued the state of New Jersey because the governor there signed into law a mask ban for ICE agents. A similar law in California was blocked last month. Do you believe that ICE agents who are conducting immigration enforcement should be able to wear a mask when they're on the job?
I believe that the state of California doesn't get to dictate what they do. Would I do I allow my deputies to do that in certain circumstances? So the answer would be, I guess, yes, because depending on the circumstances that the federal government has jurisdiction over that, they can decide what they want to do. My deputies doing their work don't do that, but there are some circumstances where deputies and police officers would do that. So if we're honest and talk about what this really does and what it is, everyone would come up with a logical answer. But when you talk about emotions and you fire off emotions and untruths, I think they get offended with lies, but untruths, then you just confuse and
But Chad,
mess
you're
up the
not
entire
you're not being honest about the impacts.
That's
look,
a chilling answer.
I was just
yeah, that's a chilling answer.
There is
yeah. I mean, look, we can all agree that we should have a secure border. If you're committing serious and violent crime, deportation is the consequence. But I was just in the fashion district on the side of downtown Los Angeles, where I met with small business owners who have tears in their eyes because they don't have customers anymore, because Donald Trump's cruel and indiscriminate enforcement based on the color of people's skins, the language they're speaking, it has terrorized a community. It's targeting the Latino community. It is disproportionately impacting our immigrant neighbors.
Congresswoman Porter, what's your view? What's your response?
Donald Trump sucks. And I don't think that anyone who doesn't see that he is targeting and hurting Californians and won't stand up for everybody who is counting on them to be their leader and keep them safe has no business being governor.
Congresswoman Porter, thank you for that. Mr. Hilton?
Deep words
Antonio
reporter.
mentioned, me earlier and said I just recently arrived. It's true. I arrived here in 2012 with my wife and my 2 sons. But what's interesting is that I don't think there's an appreciation of the difference between legal and illegal immigration.
This guy's
I've
a
spent
plant.
many
Hilton's
times
garbage.
right here in East LA, where we are, with legal immigrants, with families of legal immigrants who really resent the unfairness that we're seeing in California, where you have illegal immigrants who are getting free
Thank you, Mr.
benefits,
Hilton.
housing, welfare.
Mayhem-
and they say
Mayhem
to me,
loves
"Look,
Sergey
we did
Brin."
it the right way.
That's
we
not
worked
true.
hard.
That's
Sure.
We
Thank you,
came
Mr.
the right
Hilton.
way.
Candidates,
and yet
don't worry.
We are not getting fairness, and we need to restore fairness in our system.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. And candidates, don't worry, we have many more questions to come up from both of us ahead and much more of CNN's California governor primary debate right after this.
So far we've heard a whole lot of lies up in here. A whole lot of lies. But yeah, Mahan, the mayor of San Jose, I don't like the fact he's backed by the Epstein class oligarchy, the tech bros. I don't like that. People who have been on the island disqualified. I don't like Hilton. He's only been in the United States since 2012. You want to run the 4th biggest GDP in the world? Nope, sorry. Sorry, not doing it. I don't like the freaking Bianco Oathkeeper Storm the Capitol ass energy who says he's non-emotional and almost fucking cried about it when they called him out on that shit on stage. God. Katie Porter is kind of a lunatic. She makes a lot of sense sometimes, but she's cringe as hell and she treats her people like shit, so. Let's see, who else? Becerra. Right now, Becerra's probably, in my mind, Becerra's probably the top runner so far as the most experienced, the most stable. He was able to balance budgets before. And right now, I just want something normal in California. You know, something normal. A little bit. Radical change would be great. I'll settle for fucking normal in these abnormal times. It's crazy. Crazy work. And for people who are like resourceful in California and the gas tax, I get it. Like I drive a big ass Chevy lifted 4-wheel drive, but I also have an ethanol minivan, which is $3 a gallon. So if you know what you're doing in California, you can circumvent the high gas prices. With the war in Iran, clearly the Strait of Hormuz getting shut down, all that shit, that is clearly an issue, a Trump-created issue, right? Unforeseen circumstances, and in my opinion, he was doing what Israel wanted. He was doing what Israel wanted. Now we're all gonna pay for it for a very long time, very long time. So we're just getting through this commercial, guys. If you haven't, I have a poll in the chat. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't. We will continue watching. Consider becoming a member. You can grab some cool emojis and throw them in there. Appreciate it. I'd like to get my $6 back from having to buy CNN. That's cringe as hell just to say. I'm not a big fan of Steyer. He's a billionaire. I feel in my mind, I feel like Hilton and Steyer are in on it, kind of back and forth. Whoever gets it is gonna, do whatever they want. They're gonna appease the billionaires. This whole Steyer, I'm a reformed billionaire bullshit. It's not true. You don't reform as a billionaire, and I think it's just being a billionaire alone kind of makes you morally and ethically inept to represent the people, right? He's not gonna look. He looks at us as a commodity. Steve Sane with the gifted membership. Thank you very much. He looks at us like a commodity. Goes to T. Kangas. T. Congus. Thank you. I saw some of your chats, T. Congus. I really liked your input. I'm glad you got a membership. Badass. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to head back into it here any second. The guy commenting is a cuck? Why? California is irrelevant? What are you, the Borg? Irrelevant. Resistance is futile. Your technological and biological will be added to our own. I forgot what is this? Yonko for Gov? Fuck that guy, dude. He was a fucking oath keeper. I didn't know that until someone mentioned it right there. Terrible. Becerra seems to be the hot one right now. So I can settle for Becerra. He's already got the most federal government experience. He's already got the most federal government experience, and he seems to be the most level-headed out of all of them so far. Ugh. Swalwell really fucked things up. That guy, man. Him and his pecker. Chasing around 20-something-year-old freaking interns. What's wrong with these dudes? Like, they're here to represent us, the people. I can tell he represents some of my chat because they are absolutely cooked on MAGA. Or the billionaires. Whatever. I know he's a Democrat, but geez, hey. It just shows you, too, both sides have this fucking scandal in it. Like, you're not gonna find the scandal-free side. You're not. That's why we shouldn't pick sides. Pick the best candidate.
Democrats to Republicans, all battling it out for 2 spots on the ballot in November. The next governor of California, as we all know and have talked about tonight, will have to work with President Trump for the next 2 years. Congresswoman Porter, you recently put out an email, a fundraising email, with the subject line, F Trump. And you're not censoring it like I am right now. And you went on to say, quote, "That's right, F Trump. Together we're going to kick Trump's ass in November." Will F Trump be your guiding principle in dealing with the president?
When Donald Trump hurts California, as he has again and again, then I will absolutely stand up to him. 100%. He has denied wildfire funding to help disaster victims here in California. He has made it clear that he is seeking to specifically punish California in canceling green energy projects here that create good, high-paying jobs while he's allowing them to continue in other states. We absolutely have to be clear about the risk that Donald Trump presents to Californians and to our economy and to our ability to change California for the better. So if he's going to attack California, yeah, F him.
Mr. Hilton?
I think the next governor of California will have to work with the administration and with the president that the American people elected to get good results for Californians. And by the way, my attitude will be to work with the president regardless of party to get good results for Californians. Now, it so happens that we have a president who has endorsed me for governor, and we've discussed how I can work with his team to lower gas prices in California by opening up energy production, to reduce wildfire risk by proper forest management, to get the fraud and the waste out of our state budget so we can cut taxes. These are all practical ways we can work together to help everyone
Thank you, Mr.
in
Hilton.
California
Secretary
watching.
Becerra, what's your view of that as someone who served in the federal government?
Well, I served and we helped the state of California when I was at the Department of Health and Human Services. But when I was Attorney General, when Trump was president the first time, we took him on. Every time he tried to attack our state, when he tried to force us to do things that were against the law, when he tried to deny us our resources, we took him on. That's why I had to go toe-to-toe with him in court over 120 times. And most of those cases, we were able to win. I will tell you this, whether it was on women's health care, whether it was protecting immigrants' rights, whether it was defending our environmental laws, we took him on, and because Donald Trump doesn't understand the laws very well, we were able to beat him over and over, including taking the Affordable Care Act all the way to the Supreme Court and defending it.
Mayor Mahan, On that fundraising email and that phrasing that the congresswoman used, I mean, do you believe
He's
that
British.
Trump is a good guiding principle as the governor of California in working with the federal government?
Well, Caitlin, look, my approach is to fight for our values. As mayor of San Jose, I've sued the Trump administration multiple times, increased funding for our immigrant neighbors who are under attack. We've prohibited ICE from using city property as a staging area. But I will also never forget that the best resistance is delivering results, showing that California's progressive values work in practice. That's what I've done as mayor. One of the only people on this stage who can point to real results that matter in people's lives. Safest big city in the country, 1/3 fewer homeless people, thousands of homes under construction.
Thank you, Mayor Monahan.
Thousands of new small businesses, real results, not a lot of rhetoric. That's not going to beat Donald Trump.
Sheriff Bianco?
Yeah, I promise every single person out there that you're not going to hear one word from me about President Trump, President Biden, or anything else, because I'm going to be the only one on the stage that's actually going to be the governor of California for Californians. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you and blame somebody else for our problems that have been absolutely caused by 70 years of Democrat rule in the Assembly and Senate and 16 years of one party rule by their policies, their things that they put in place that have destroyed the ability to live in California.
Thank you, Sheriff Bianco. Mr. Steyer, what's your take on this?
Look, I started an organization in 2017 to impeach Donald Trump because I've been in enough boardrooms to know a crook when I see one, and he is a crook. And what we can see that he's doing now is he's sending in ICE agents to racially profile and harass Californians. He started a war that's driving up our gas prices, is taking tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that we need for schools and for healthcare away from us. He's kicking people off healthcare. The truth of the matter is the governor of California is supposed to stand up for Californians against anyone. And that is exactly the only thing that Donald Trump,
Thank you, Mr. Steyer.
the only thing he respects is strength. He's a bully. And the only thing you can do is stand up to him.
All right. Now let's turn more about the healthcare crisis in America. Millions of people are dropping insurance coverage after Congress allowed Obamacare subsidies to expire. In California, new enrollments are down 32%. Secretary Becerra, in late March, you said you'd, quote, deliver a state-run, publicly funded healthcare program for every Californian. But in a recent meeting, you reportedly told a group of doctors that you are not supporting single payer right now. So which is it? Would you push for single payer as governor or not?
Alex, let's be clear. I've been consistent for over 30 years. When I was in Congress, I talked about how Medicare for all is probably the most efficient way that we can do healthcare, and I have always been there. I haven't changed. And so those reports were inaccurate. I continue to be for Medicare for all, and I can show you how I have actually expanded healthcare because those very subsidies that you mentioned are what help us reach record levels of Obamacare coverage. More than 24.5 million people under our watch were able to get their health insurance coverage. That is now going down because Trump has denied people the chance to have those subsidies. And the Republicans and Mr. Hilton, who has been endorsed by Donald Trump, haven't said whether they would fight to help those Californians regain their coverage. And so, Steve, will you support having those tax subsidies for Obamacare returned to those Californians who are losing their insurance today?
We didn't get an answer.
We're gonna. First of all, I just want to clarify real quick, and then we'll get you guys in. So, as governor, you're pushing for a single payer system in California?
We should try to get to a Medicare for all program. And while we are continuing to work in that direction, we should make sure we are expanding coverage, because the most important thing we have to do is give people peace of mind that they can afford their health care and that we will continue to give it to more families.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Steyer.
Look, I am for single payer. Absolutely, because the only way we can deliver health care as a right at a cost that California can afford.
Chad and Hilton are normal in one ass
with
cheek.
them this morning. They know that I will fight for single payer until we get it. And maybe those reports were wrong, Javier. But the truth is, the group you are with, the California Medical Association, is the strongest group against single payer in the state, and they just spent the maximum amount of money. They maxed out to your campaign after that meeting. So somebody didn't understand something, because they are supporting you with the max amount of money that they can give.
Secretary Becerra responds, then Congresswoman Porter.
Yeah. So a guy who is funding his campaign to a tune of over $150 million with profits made from oil companies, from helping fund private for-profit prisons that are detaining immigrants in California, has a real short memory span of how to make sure this place works. I continue to enjoy the support of healthcare sectors throughout California, doctors, nurses. I've got the endorsement of nurses as well, and I will continue to fight to make sure everyone has access to good quality healthcare in California, as I proved it when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Congresswoman Porter.
Well, golly gee, I also have the endorsement of nurses, so three's a crowd. The question, I think, is trying to aim at, do you support CalCare, California having its own state-run single-payer system, yes or no?
Is that a question?
Sure, go ahead.
As I said, when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, I was
I'd
able
like
to.
my
So
time
is that,
back.
is that,
Oh my
is
God.
that, is that a yes or a no?
I'm answering the question.
Okay.
So the most important thing about having a Medicare for all plan is that it includes everyone, for all. And what we have to do is get to the point where we are covering everyone with something like Medicare for all. So I am absolutely for Medicare for all.
Congresswoman.
And we will get there. We'll build towards it because that's the way you get folks covered. That's the way I did it.
Congresswoman
at
Porter,
HHS.
then Mary Ragosa. Congresswoman.
Covering everyone with something is not single payer. It's not even federal Medicare for all. But you won't say that whether you support California having its own state-run single-payer system. Look, Tom ran against single-payer in his presidency before he changed his mind and has decided to run for single-payer. I'm not
I don't trust
disputing that,
Dyer
Tom.
either.
I'm making sure everyone knows. And you've been consistent
wanna
on this
answer it.
point.
Okay.
You've been consistent.
I'm gonna answer
Wait,
that.
but I want
You're done.
Javier
Different perspective.
to answer the question. Do you support California having its own single-payer system? Yes or
And
no?
Katie, the answer there is that Californians don't care what you call it so long as they have affordable health care that they can use to take their child to the doctor
Yeah.
or the hospital
Well, I'd
when
like to
they
use
need
my
it.
magic
Yeah.
wand and give everybody affordable health.
Wait, it's Mary Ragosa's turn. Go ahead, sir.
You know, I believe in that healthcare is a right, not a privilege, that it should be universal, affordable, and high quality. But the fact is, Javier, I've been in enough forums with you where I've heard you say you're for it, and I've heard you say you're against it.
I've never said I'm against it.
Hold it.
I've never said it.
Let me finish. I've heard you say that you're against it.
And if it's such a
great
forum that
first
I
of
said
all,
it in.
can I finish?
If you could just point the
Can
forum
I-
that I said.
The guy in the over here, this guy's irrelevant. He's got like
Let me
1%.
finish the point.
He needs to go
it's
away.
a $500 billion price tag. You need the federal government. You need Donald Trump to approve it. Our budget is only 350 plus, and next year we're looking at 18 to $35 billion deficit. People like you are the reason why we keep on spending more than we got. So at the end of the day, let's be clear about this. This is pie in the sky. Yes, we all would like to have health care that's affordable.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
But
Secretary,
we won't have a
Secretary
$550
Becerra, your
billion
response to that argument that this is just too expensive for California. Your response.
Look, healthcare is expensive, but what we have to do is reduce the cost and expand the coverage to everyone. And that's what I did as secretary. They can ignore those points. They can lie about them. But the fact is, by the time I left the secretary position at HHS, we had expanded coverage to more Americans than ever in the history. And we had dropped the cost of care for millions of Americans under Obamacare.
And
those are
healthcare-
facts.
It's $550 billion price
Mr.
tag.
Hilton, to you, the idea of single-payer health care.
Just listen to these Democrats arguing
Oh, here
about
we
whether
go.
to
Hilton,
go
the
left
Fox
or
News
even
contributor.
further left, when that's the direction that's got us into this mess. The highest cost, the highest taxes in the country. I'm the only person here with actual experience of single-payer healthcare, both as a patient and as a policymaker. As a patient,
Just take more
it nearly
vitamins.
killed me. That's another story we don't have time for. As a policymaker, you end up with the worst patient satisfaction, cost that you can't afford, taxes sky high to pay for it. It is a total disaster. And the actual way we deal with healthcare in this state is to at least stop spending $20 billion a year on free healthcare for illegal immigrants who shouldn't even be in the country in the first
Oh
place.
my
He's
God,
referencing
here
his
we
time as
go.
a UK citizen before moving to
The
California.
immigrants.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, once again, we're hearing a lot of rhetoric at the extreme ends of the political spectrum here. When the secretary left his position, healthcare spending was a bigger share of GDP than ever before, pushing families to the brink. It's an administrative nightmare, as everybody knows if they've ever tried to get an insurance claim filed. We're not talking about the real issue here. And Antonio's right. All the candidates who are fighting for single payer don't know how to pay for it, and they're not being honest about it. The reality is our healthcare system is broken. 30% of the cost in California is an administrative cost. We can use technology to bring down those costs.
This guy wants to put nanoprobes in your butthole.
We are not incentivizing health.
The fucking tech oligarchs.
Fee for service, more procedures,
you,
more
sir.
prescription drugs. We should reward doctors and health systems for making people healthier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Steyer, this next question is for you.
Alex,
it's on the same topic, so you can use some of your time for that. In last year's budget, Governor Gavin Newsom cut healthcare funding for undocumented immigrants to address a budget gap. As governor, would you restore that funding?
I believe everybody in California has a right to health care. But the truth of the matter is, it is eating up our budget. And it's more than that, Alex. It is eating up every single family. You talked about how many people are giving up healthcare so they can make healthcare so they can make rent. You're talking about businesses that can't compete because healthcare is so expensive. And it is eating up the budget of the state of California. When people sit here and say, let's do the same thing, we can't afford to do the same thing. It is eating up our budget. Look at the numbers. That's why I changed my mind, Katie, because I looked at the facts. Single-payer healthcare systems cost half as much as the system in total that we have now. And yes, it's going to be a big, job to get us to single-payer. But the truth is, we don't have a choice because right now, people are suffering. They're giving up healthcare. Every medical crisis turns into a financial disaster. The truth is, we don't have a choice but to go to single payer, and you need somebody who's going to fight for it. And the person who's going to fight for it.
Why do they cost less, though?
To clarify, Mr. Steyer, on the question of health care for the undocumented, I said
Becerra is a Newsom?
You would has a right to health care. And let's answer this out.
Did you
the
die?
truth of the matter is, immigrants built this state. Immigrants make this state run.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, we had a broken immigration system, and now you want to victimize the people who are working here and making the state run.
Thank you,
As
sir.
Antonio said, try and get rid of them. You can't do it.
Let's go to Sheriff Bianco. Your thoughts on this idea of undocumented healthcare funding?
It's ridiculous. When are we going to draw the line at any other crime? It's illegal. They entered the country illegally. We're not going to incentivize them to come here to take more of the resources that regular Californians aren't getting. The ones that are struggling here, that are here legally, they're not getting that. They're not getting free education. They're not getting free medical. They're not getting free food. They're not getting all of those things that the illegal ones are getting. And we're somehow celebrating that when the legal immigrants here don't get that. It makes absolutely no sense. And healthcare, no one's talking about, how about we try and make people healthy?
So, Congresswoman Porter, your thoughts on the idea of funding health care for
fucking raccoon penises and whale cadavers?
Yes, and
that's, by the way, what I think Californians deserve as answers to these questions, Alex.
And for critics who say that we can't afford it, what do you say to that?
We can't afford to have people who are sick, who are making the rest of us sick. When anyone doesn't have care, when anyone doesn't have care, the rest of us are at risk. When people don't get vaccinations, when they don't go to the doctor, they
universal
wind up
health care for all Americans.
They cause longer lines for the rest of us. They make our healthcare system, they push it to the brink. And that was exactly where we were when we expanded healthcare and health coverage to make sure that everyone can be healthy. The direction that got us into this mess is Democrats catering to big pharmaceutical companies and big insurance companies, which Mr. Becerra has taken $2 million from in his career.
Oh, damn.
And still won't give us a yes or no answer on where he stands. Every other candidate on the stage gave an answer on single payer, and it was clear. He's the only one who won't. And to me, with health care on the line, that's disqualifying.
Thank you.
Secretary Becerra, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, first, immigrants, whether documented or not, work hard. They pay taxes, and sometimes they get injured on the job or their children get sick. It would be foolish to tell a family that they don't have access to the pediatrician or the family doc, or not be able to use the community health center where it wouldn't cost us so much to give them access to good health care. Instead, what will happen is that child will get so ill that they will have to take that child to the hospital. And what door do they enter? The most expensive door in the healthcare system, the emergency room door. Why do that and spend so much money when you can do it up front? And so, yes, let us provide the care to all the people who work hard and make California
Secretary Becerra, thank you for that. I have a question for you on another issue that has come up repeatedly during this campaign. You're actually part of a lawsuit against Sheriff Bianco here over his seizure of more than 500,000 ballots that was brought up earlier in Riverside County from last year's election. He says he's investigating allegations of election fraud. Election officials say that those claims aren't valid. Do you believe that the sheriff here committed a crime?
The sheriff is supposed to enforce the law. In this case, Sheriff Bianco violated the law. There are ways that you treat ballots. You have to maintain the integrity of every ballot. So you know, I know, we all know that no one will tamper with your ballot. There is a chain of custody requirement that the law says you have to follow in order to let that ballot move anywhere. Sheriff Bianco,
I believe he broke the law.
Sheriff Bianco didn't follow that process. He violated the law
not talking
as
about
the
elections.
sheriff. So absolutely, that's why we are suing him
about
to get back the ballots. He cannot claim
that's
under
not the
cover of
lawsuit.
an investigation that he has the right to take these ballots and break that chain of custody. That's against the law. That's why we're suing, and that's why he's going to lose in the Supreme Court.
Sheriff Bianco?
It's not true. None of that is true. This is all political, so he could get his name in the papers that he's suing
he's
for all.
lose.
It is
It's all
true.
garbage.
Sheriff
Bianco, you don't know anything about it.
Yes, I
so-
do.
Can I
It is
answer?
true.
Can I answer?
You broke the law.
Can I answer? I am tasked, elected and tasked with enforcing the law in Riverside County. And part of that is fraud. Election fraud is against the law. There is absolutely nothing we did that was illegal. And the real issue here is the Attorney General just doesn't want them counted. So the issue at stake in the Supreme Court is whether he has the authority to order me to not do an investigation. That's all this is. Don't lie. You two have no idea what was going on in that investigation.
Secretary Becerra,
You're making
your
it political.
Yeah, he's being sued by the Attorney General, but he's also being sued by those of us who want to protect the ballot. And what we're saying, Sheriff, is that if you're going to try to get a ballot, follow the law. The law is pretty clear. All you had to do was read the law. You cannot take ballots, confiscate them, and count them yourself. You have to have people who are trained and
the judge
authorized to
agreed.
do that.
We can,
You
and the
cannot
judge
do that.
agreed.
That's why the Supreme Court has stopped you from being
Mr.
able to
Hilton,
count
what's your
ballots.
view of
That's a
this?
lie.
My view is that it's a bit rich for Javier to talk about following the law when
Javier?
he is mired personally in a corruption scandal where his former
My
chief
God,
of
here we
staff,
go.
Sean McCluskey, when Javier was appointed by Joe Biden to be health secretary, he wanted his chief of staff to go with him. The salary wasn't enough. So what did they do? They took money from Javier's campaign account to top up his salary by funneling it to Dana Williamson, Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, so that it was paid to this guy's wife.
Secretary
All of that
Becerra, I
is
want you-
illegal. It is against state law. It's against federal law. My running mate for Attorney General, Michael Gates, has this evening written to
I wanna hear
Javier
the answer
Becerra
to
to
this.
make it clear that when he is Attorney General, Javier will be investigated
Thank you.
and,
And
if
Mr.
necessary,
Hilton-
prosecuted for these crimes.
Mr. Hilton, just to clarify the question about the seizure of the ballots in Riverside County, do you believe that Sheriff Bianco took the right step there?
I'm not going to weigh in on something that I don't have the knowledge of the facts on. I trust that Chad is interested in what we should all be interested in, which is ensuring the integrity of our elections and restoring faith in our elections in California. That's why I support voter ID in California. Let's see what these Democrats think of voter
And
ID.
Secretary Becerra, your response to Mr. Hilton.
Yeah, first, Steve, read the law. In order to remove ballots, you have to follow a process. Sheriff Bianco didn't follow it. If you're not going to enforce the law as governor, then why would you want to sit in the office? But
if you're going to break
Probably
the
the same fraud you investigated while you were Attorney General.
This issue, Steve, again, read the indictment. I was not involved in the actions that
It was your chief of
He
staff.
was cleared of any wrongdoing. He wasn't in the indictment.
Let me, if I
signed
could
the
just finish
campaign
the
report.
I know where all my
Signed the
money
campaign
goes.
Finish the
Secretary
response.
Becerra, go ahead.
Yeah, Steve, if you knew the law, you have to have basis to sue to go after someone criminally. I am not involved in that action. Now,
It was
you
your
could
chief
say-
of staff, and it was your decision.
And the people who
because
your money.
people who
you
may
were
have
the one
violated the
hired
law
to
will
go
be
to
held-
Washington as health secretary,
Let
and you
Secretary
wanted
Bas-
him. You
let
wanted this
Secretary
guy
Becerra
by your
respond.
side, and the reason that the money was
Steve,
transferred
no-
is because the
Steve-
salary wasn't high enough,
Steve,
and
if I
that's
could
why
just-
you engaged in this scheme, which is illegal under state law and
Secretary Becerra,
federal law.
continue responding.
So you notice that nowhere in the indictment is anything that Steve said included there. If you violate the law, you will be prosecuted. No one is above the law. You will be held accountable. If I had been involved, the U.S. attorney would have had me in that indictment. I was not involved. But here's what I will say. Steve, I hope you speak as ferociously about Donald Trump's violation of the law every time you're sitting in the governor's office trying to protect the people of California, because the last thing we need is to have an executive who continues to violate the rights of Californians and have a governor who just sits back and agrees with that executive named Donald Trump.
All right, let's talk about housing. Skyrocketing costs, severe shortages have
And
made the
Becerra
state
said it was a gut
unlivable
punch
for
to his
many.
campaign.
Overall home ownership rates are at their lowest since the 1940s. Mr. Hilton, you say that California needs to, quote, end the war on single-family homes. Your housing plan focuses on the building of single-family homes over high-density multifamily developments. Why do you think that's the best approach?
And just today, I launched a new plan for starter homes in California. One of the most heartbreaking things I see is young people, they come to our events, and I ask them, do you ever see yourself owning a home in California, starting a family here? And they say no, and we're going to have to leave. And that's why we've got to enact a very straightforward plan. Number one, we have to get rid of the regulations that make it 2 or 3 times as expensive to build the exact same home in California as in neighboring states. We have to stop the lawsuits filed by the unions who support these Democrats that get in the way of building housing. And to your point, we have to stop trying to force housing into suburban neighborhoods where people don't want it. Instead, we have to build single family homes in the places in our state that do want to expand. That's the plan, to make sure that we can restore that California dream of home ownership. It is the heart of opportunity for our young people, and it's being taken away by these Democrats and their policies.
Mayor Mahan, your response.
Yeah, look, again, these guys can talk, but I've actually delivered as mayor of the 3rd largest city in the state. I removed barriers to building thousands of homes that are currently under construction. We added
And the most
thousands of
expensive
interim
city in the
housing
nation.
placements and brought homeless neighbors indoors, reducing our unsheltered homeless population by 1/3. We've led the state in building ADUs and making it easy for people to put backyard cottages in for a child returning home from college or a grandparent. I'm the only candidate on the stage who has actually taken on the bureaucracy, the red tape, reduced fees and permitting times, and delivered housing for working people.
Mayor Villaraigosa.
But actually, I built more market rate, affordable workforce and homeless
shouldn't even be up
housing
here. He's
in
at 1%.
8 years in the middle of a recession than they did in the 12 years before me. So you're not the only one on this stage that has done that. But I want to return to what was just mentioned. Look, the fact of the matter is, Javier Becerra's chief of staff has been indicted. A number of people have been indicted. Javier signed those documents. He said that he thought $10,000 wasn't a lot to maintain that account. Well, he actually had 2 accounts. The other one he paid $1,500 for. So the fact is, he may not be indicted at this point, but he has to be under suspicion because it doesn't pass the smell test.
Secretary Becerra.
As I said, anyone who violates the law should be held accountable. If people want to judge me on what I've done. I expanded healthcare to more Americans than anyone in the history of the country serving as secretary. I was able to negotiate for the first time ever lower drug prices as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I took on Donald Trump when he tried to attack the state of California over and over again. If you want to judge me on the things that I've done, not on spurious claims made by people who are trying to become governor of the state of California.
Let's talk about homelessness. Mayor Mahan, this question is
Antonio
for you.
has been
California
bought.
has among
He's
the
got to
highest
be a plan.
homeless
He shouldn't
rates
be
in
up
the
there.
country. Sheriff Bianco takes issue with the term homeless itself. He says, quote, we will quit calling it homeless. This is not about homes. They don't even want homes. They're perfectly happy where they are. Do you agree that Californians sleeping on the streets don't want homes?
Well, look, first of all, I just have to set the record straight on Javier's touting his experience. The Biden administration, President Biden, openly talked about firing him, had to sideline him during COVID because he wasn't delivering results. And I am still in shock in this debate that despite being given the opportunity 3 times in a row by Katie, he was unable to clearly answer the most important question on healthcare as our former Secretary of Health and Human Services. On homelessness, though, I can't let that slide. I'm sorry. The facts matter. On homelessness,
I did answer the question.
I have led the state in reducing unsheltered homelessness by finding a balanced approach that is compassionate but also accountable.
It's not
I stood up to the system that was building $1 million a door
sold out to the
solutions
tech
taking
oligarchs.
years on end and said
Now
this
San
is
Jose
never
is the
going to
most
scale.
expensive
We're building basic,
city in the
dignified
nation.
shelter. We're working with our county
That's
to
why it's the
expand
safest. They
inpatient
chased
treatment.
everybody else out.
And when those beds are available, we're
One of the
requiring
safest.
that people come indoors. That's a pragmatic approach. It's leading the state. It's what we need to do in every city and county in California.
Sheriff
Alex,
Bianco,
can I just say-
the issue of homelessness, then we'll bring you in, Mr. Steyer. Sheriff Bianco.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with homes, and it's unfortunate for the people there that they were just relocated to a hard roof instead of a tent so he could run for governor, because he had 4 years to do that and chose not to, but right before he runs for governor, he has to relocate all of them. The bottom line is this: that's not compassionate, because they're still under the influence of drugs. They're still experiencing mental health issues. They're still experiencing the combination of both, and we are not giving them the treatment that they need. This is not about homes. This is about mental health treatment, drug and alcohol treatment, most importantly, the combination of both. And it is not compassion if we are not going to give them.
We're going to give the mayor a
Chad
chance to
should
respond, and then we'll bring Steyer into the
Yeah, I mean, it's
conversation.
interesting. In fact, first of all, more than half of the candidates on the stage have visited San Jose to see our success in interim housing. We've added thousands of units, moved thousands of people indoors. And just in the 3 years that I have been mayor, we have graduated about 30% of those people to permanent housing.
Yeah.
We're saving lives, fewer deaths on our streets, fewer tent encampments. In fact, right now we're in the midst of resolving the last large tent encampment in the city of San Jose. Those are the kinds of results we need to see statewide.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Steyer,
I'm
the
going to
issue of
jump in at some
homelessness.
point. I'm going to jump in.
Homelessness is very important. But the number one problem in California is Californians can't afford to live here. And the number one issue on affordability is housing. And we skipped over it. We didn't really talk about how we're going to build houses in this state. And the truth is, people can talk about permitting, and it's true. I worked for reform of CEQA. They can talk about zoning. We need to build densely around public transportation. And they can talk about constructing offsite. They'll drop costs by at least a third. But what they don't talk about is the cities and counties of this state do not want new housing, because new housing brings in people and they can't afford to pay the health and education costs. That's why the fact that I'm willing to close a corporate loophole and bring in
Thank you,
22.
Mr. Steyer.
No, but let me say this. This is the key. They will welcome housing if they can afford to take care of the people. And I talked to a mayor on Saturday
Thank you, Mr.
who said,
Steyer.
if you'll do it, I'll support you. And I love it.
I want
And
to
I
turn
respond to-
the
He's
issue
talking
of
about
this-
raising taxes on small business. When Tom says we're closing a corporate loophole, what he's not telling you is he's raising taxes on commercial property across the board. That means all of your office uses, all your small businesses. That's just going to get passed on to consumers
Can I respond to
and
that?
make the cost of living in California even higher. And it's not going to fund single payer because that's 10 times more expensive than the revenue he's going to collect.
Mr.
Raising
Steyer?
taxes isn't always the answer,
How
Tom.
is it possible that he could possibly know what this bill says since it hasn't been written? The truth is, we're going to give an exception for small businesses. The idea of this is corporations are getting taxed for real estate
big win
on their
promises.
basis in the 1970s. Disney, $10 billion.
Sorry,
hundreds
it's
of
about
billions of
homelessness.
money
Steyer.
is paying.
I'm
This is
sorry.
about
Thank you,
paying
Mr.
real estate
Steyer. I want
taxes
to turn
for
to
Disneyland based on
Caitlin,
the 1970s.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Steyer.
not
I
small
want to turn to
businesses,
issues
Matt.
of leadership, which is something that obviously all of you would be in the position to deal with if you are elected governor. And Mayor Villaraigosa, you actually put out an ad of your own recently that highlighted your opponent here, Congresswoman Katie Porter, threatening to cut off an interview with a reporter. That came after a video surfaced of her berating a member of
I'm
her
done.
staff. If a senior official in your
She lost her
government
shit.
acted as she did in those videos, would you fire them?
Yes. But let's be clear. That's irrelevant. Because
You're
one of
irrelevant,
us,
motherfucker. You got
will be,
1%.
the
Go
next
away.
governor. But let me just say something about what Javier Becerra has refused
Oh my
to
God,
answer,
dude.
and that is that your chief of staff was indicted for padding his salary with your campaign funds. You initially on CNN
This guy
said
reminds me of a fucking
that
mega
you
church
knew,
preacher.
that you signed it. You knew that they spent $10,000. And then on the second time on your show, you said you didn't know. The fact is, as I said, I think
That's
you have
not
to
true.
answer. You had two committees. You spent $1,500 for one and $10,000 for
Don't you
the
get
other.
the facts straight? And I hope I
That's
can
a
Mr.
fact.
clarify.
Mayor,
That
I'm
is a
sorry,
fact.
Caitlin.
I want to go to Congresswoman Porter since
Wait, Katie,
she's...
wait, time out.
I'll come
No,
to you,
I'm
Secretary
sorry.
Becerra,
It
but
is
given
my turn.
she's at the center
You just
of that
skipped
ad,
Javier.
you put out an ad of your own, now making light of that interaction that you had with your
That's not
staffer,
correct, Caitlin.
which you said you apologized for.
That is not correct. The ad is about showing Californians what they've had a chance to see on this stage tonight and in every other debate stage that we've had, which is that I'm able to take responsibility. I'm able to follow the rules. I'm able to say I'm sorry, and I'm able to do better. Everybody in California had a chance to see me on stage with that reporter in the last debate
Losing
and
your
see
shit.
exactly how I conducted myself. Californians can decide for themselves about my temperament based on what they've seen here tonight.
Or lack
And
thereof.
if these boys bullying and bickering hasn't been enough to raise questions about their temperament, I would really challenge that. I have taken responsibility at this point hundreds of times, and that's appropriate because I made a bad decision and I treated someone badly. I apologized 5 years ago for it, and we worked together for 4 more years. What I haven't heard is the people on this stage who have made other bad decisions and other mistakes and other failures of leadership. Not one of them, not one of these men have said in this entire campaign, I've made a mistake. Not for not being able to account for undocumented children who wound up in child labor. You called that MAGA talking points and a hoax, Mr. Becerra. I could go down the line. I don't even want to waste my time on this.
I would appreciate
just
her
wanna
more if
say
she
to
came
California,
out more
I have taken
unhinged
responsibility. I have shown
on this
that. And
debate.
what that
Just
ad is
go
about,
full Katie.
Caitlin, is about showing that I can laugh at myself. I can hold myself to account. And I have the fitness, the temperament, and the best ideas to be governor. And everybody's had a chance to see now in 3 debates how.
Thank you, Congresswoman Porter. And on this issue of leadership, Sheriff Bianco, you've had harsh criticism.
I have to interject. My name has been used several times, and I've
And
patiently
Secretary
waited.
Becerra, I'll come to you
Caitlin, you said that
I'll
the
come
last
to you on
time.
what the Congresswoman said. I promise. Don't worry.
Thank you.
But Sheriff Bianco, on this issue of leadership, I saw the two of you chatting earlier, you and Mr. Hilton. You've actually had some harsh words for your fellow Republican on the stage tonight. You've called him, quote, unethical and dishonest, and said that he is trying to, quote, manipulate Californians and, quote, swindled his way into the Republican side. Are you saying that you don't think Republican voters can trust Mr. Hilton?
I will tell you, I don't know where that came from. I wouldn't tell you in my entire life. I don't think I've used the word swindle. So I don't know if you were quoting something or if you were saying that, if you were saying that.
It's a quote from you to The Atlantic.
No, I've never used the word swindle. Have Steve and
January
I disagreed?
6th.
Absolutely we have. We had our quite big disagreements and battles in this election because he's running his campaign. I'm running mine.
They're going to fucking goon later.
But you're denying that you said these quotes.
No, I'm saying that I don't know where that came from. I would never use the word swindled, but the context.
Hilton
yes,
looks
I
like he
have said
wants
that.
to just.
It's
Look at him.
unethical that I'm the only person up here that their entire existence in their job revolves around honesty, integrity, and leadership. I'm the only one. Right now, lying can get me removed from my job.
Can I just clarify?
Unlike what they're saying.
With you, because this says it's from an interview with KBAK that happened in April of this year, where you said he's trying to figure out how he can manipulate Californians to put him in this position in a time when we know that California Democrats have failed and we are going to vote for a Republican governor, and he has swindled his way into the Republican side, even though he's not.
I probably did say that. I didn't use the word swindled, whatever it was. But that context, I will agree with that 100%.
So
I do believe that.
Okay, so you did say the quote.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Hilton?
Look, this is a very serious moment for California. The ballots are out. They're in your hands. And we have a really big choice to make, which is, do we go for another 4 years of one-party rule
I can't
that's given
stand
us
this
the
guy,
highest
dude.
taxes for the worst results, the highest poverty rate, highest
Fox
unemployment
News
rate,
ass.
highest cost of living, serious policy questions, homelessness. We need to stop homelessness and end it. We need to stop funding fiascos like high-speed rail.
you, Mr.
We need to
Hilton.
lift burdens on our business.
Caitlin.
That's what this debate needs
Thank
to
you.
be about. And the only way to get the change we need is to not vote
Thank you,
the
Mr.
same
Hilton.
way and think you're going to get a different result.
I do have to go back to Secretary Becerra, since I did promise you that I would let you respond to that, since Congresswoman Porter invoked your name a few moments ago. She was talking about your leadership. Would you like to respond to her?
Yeah, I think everyone's invoking my name. It's nice to hear my name quite a bit, and they're at least pronouncing it.
It shouldn't be.
I will tell you this. Distorting the facts in your quest to be governor is never good. But using Trump lies to try to damage your opponents is worse. And that's what we see happening. Everyone knows that Trump campaigned in 2024 talking about lost kids when there were no such thing as lost kids. To hear these candidates now talk about that, if they're so concerned, why haven't they taken any action to find these lost kids? I think it's shameful for people to use Trump lies to try to gain favor with voters when you know it's not true. Use the facts. We should have a governor who relies on the facts. I will speak the facts when I'm governor because that's what the California voters deserve.
I feel
All right,
compelled to fact check it.
Staying on the topic.
It was a New York Times
of-
Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation.
And read the article,
It's not Donald
Antonio.
Trump.
Read
who-
the article,
26 Democrats.
All right,
have
Mr.
said-
Villaraigosa.
26
We're gonna
Democrats said it
we're
was
gonna move on.
outrageous,
We're gonna move on now,
horrendous.
sir.
Be accountable.
All right, we're
Admit
gonna
what
move on.
you
On the
made.
topic of leadership, I want to talk about California Governor Gavin Newsom, who's about to leave office after 8
God, here we
consequential
go.
and
Well,
at times
get ready, chat.
controversial years. To all of you, what is one word you would use to describe Governor Newsom's performance as governor? We will go down the line, starting with you, Mayor Villaraigosa. One word to describe Governor Newsom's performance
I wanna hear
as
mid.
governor.
Performative.
Perform.
Progressive.
Failed.
Steve, failure. You can't take
Wow.
my word.
Oh, yeah,
Game
see?
changing.
They want to hold hands. You see that? It's coming.
Incomplete.
We'll be right back with more of the California
Man.
governor primary debate
God,
right
oh
here
my God.
on CNN.
Wild. Hey, I gotta. God, there is so much going on with this. This is wild, guys. This is so wild. It's such. Man. Yeah, I'm really glad the truth came out about Swalwell. But the fucking aftermath is such a shit show. Jesus. I'm dude, Oathkeeper, Bianco, sorry. Hilton, sorry, not doing it. We're not doing MAGA. And I saw a couple people in the chat saying I'm a libtard. Dude, I was a Republican for like 20 years. Okay? I'm an independent. All right? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. If anything, I leaned a little right for a long time. I'm pretty much right down the middle now as a centralist. I feel like if the pendulum swings too far one way, it's going to bite us in the butt on the other side. Just how we got billionaires now, Tom Steyer, we got billionaires now running for governor, right? I feel like we are in a class war as a nation. I feel like they're using this against us, where we found someone so freaking awful on one side that we're going to go right to the other side. Whoever he's saying is garbage. Right now, Trump's like, oh, Steyer is garbage, blah, blah, blah. Go for Hilton. And I just don't trust Hilton. I don't trust Steyer. I don't trust a freaking Oathkeeper. Bianco. I don't. And I don't trust Mahan either. Mahan is all about building a better California initiative that is straight top donor, was on Epstein Island. And he paid $20 million for people to go out to sign building a better California for affordable housing that's going to overload the infrastructure and it's going to just absolutely come back on the taxpayers. So yeah, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle so far. And Katie Porter, you know, I'm going to be honest. I kind of wanted a really strong woman to run as governor. I did. I felt like a perspective could be changed there that we desperately need in California. I just don't feel like Katie is the one. I don't think she has the good temperament. And for her to come up here and talk about everybody having bad temperament, my God. We've seen the videos of her losing her shit, and now she's making cringe ass videos. The only one now at this point, like I'm saying, Becerra by default, and not just by default, he has the most experience, right? So I'm going for that so far. He did take $39,000 from Chevron, which he got a lot of shit for this campaign. So no one's perfect, and there is scandal in this cabinet too. There was scandal. It was absolutely factual. There was scandal in his cabinet. He was not indicted on any of the scandal, but his top cabinet members were involved. So there's nobody here without a shade of gray. That's the issue we're having here in California. I feel, man, I want to hear more about universal health care. That's what I want to hear for all Americans. MAGA Americans, far left Americans. I want to hear universal health care. I don't want to hear people going Obama and Biden. I don't want to hear that either. I don't want to hear it. I don't. Right now, we are in a shit show with Trump. Inflation's through the fucking roof. Gas prices are through the roof. Fertilizer for our crops through the roof. Food prices going to go up. This next harvest is going to be a shit show in the Middle East. Or in the Midwest, sorry. Freudian slip. So there's a lot to it. Like it is what it is. There's a lot to this. We just got to figure out who the best candidate is. Why that Antonio, mayor of LA, is there, I have no clue. He has a 1% polling. He's a plant. See, like CNN said, hey, come here and talk some shit. Like, that's how I feel. He shouldn't even be there. He's out of the question. He's out of the question. A little bit. What we got? A little support. $9.99. Thank you for covering this. Wish it was more. Thank you, LJ. Appreciate the hell out of it. That pays for my CNN I had to buy. 5 gifted memberships from Salt of the Earth. Thank you, Salt. Appreciate it. Welcome to the Chungalites, Salt of the Earth. And thank you. You got a membership as well. Enjoy the emojis. I'll be making more emojis as well, guys. There's a pro-Ukrainian supporters in the chat, too. There's a 501c3 link that's pinned in the description of the chat. We're helping some men right now that need a vehicle repaired. It is through a 501c3 tax deductible. They need vehicle repair for the 47th Brigade. $1,000 left to go.
I want to move now to the issue of artificial intelligence. The next governor will have to navigate a pivotal moment in the AI revolution, balancing its immense potential with the possibility of massive job loss in our state. Mayor Mahan, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei says AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years. As governor of California, would you require AI companies to compensate people displaced by their own technology? And how so?
Well, Alex, as the mayor of the largest city in Silicon Valley, I've seen these tools up close, and they can be used to make life better, but they also come with great risks, and people are right to be worried. I've regulated big tech. We started something called the GovAI Coalition to create frameworks for how cities, counties, and others should use these tools responsibly. I created the first and largest AI upskilling curriculum for city workers. This year, 1,000 city workers in San Jose will go through our upskilling curriculum. The answer is to tax these companies and fund workforce development, upskilling courses, and create the shared prosperity that we need, the pathways to the jobs of the future, but not to regulate them to the point that they simply go to other places and then this change happens to us.
Mr. Starr, your thoughts on AI?
Well, what we can't have in AI is for it to succeed and we create 12 trillionaires and millions of people who lose their jobs. The number one thing we have to do is make sure that AI is a tool for workers and not a replacement of workers. And we absolutely need to own part of it. The people of California need to have a tax or a fee on every calculation. And we'll use that to protect workers. We'll use that to retrain workers. And if there's money left over, we'll use it for a sovereign wealth fund. This is a California innovation in technology. We own the beach. We should own part of AI.
Mr. Hilton, the original question, would you require AI companies to compensate people displaced by their technologies, and how so?
It's classic Democrats, isn't it, what you're hearing? If it moves, tax it. If it still moves, regulate it. And if it stops moving, I guess they want to subsidize
Oh
it.
my
Look,
God, here's
the truth
the
is on
clever
this,
little fucking
we have to have a
one-liner.
bit of humility. This is a very fast-moving technology, and actually even the people involved in it disagree about its exact consequences. Here are two practical things we could and should be doing better today. First of all, the real blue-collar jobs that are coming from the AI revolution, they're not happening in California. They're going to Texas and Arizona, semiconductor manufacturing. We could get that back by removing regulations. And secondly, our school system is not educating our kids to be able to thrive in this world of AI. We need to do better.
AI is a policy choice. We get to decide as Californians whether we want these technologies to work for us and to help us, or whether we want to stand by and let them gut our economy. I've talked about how AI could be delivering a 4-day work week for every single Californian, something that OpenAI came out this week talking about. I'm seeing AI already in my classrooms, having to write an AI policy with my kids' homework. We have to decide, do we want AI to work for all of us? And I think when AI uses what people have done, what workers have done, workers should be compensated for those inputs.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Obviously, AI is a huge issue that, as governor, any of you would have to deal with. Also, one that is underway right now in California, a changing climate that has been exacerbating water shortages, poor air quality, and of course, disasters like wildfires that people in this state are unfortunately all too familiar with. According to analysis from our partner, USA Facts, California has actually declared nearly 50 disasters in just the last 5 years. Mr. Steyer, your opponent here, Mr. Hilton, says that there is no evidence of California's regulations actually helping the climate. What's your response to him?
Well, I think that Mr. Hilton is ridiculous. Mr. Hilton is an apologist. He is an apologist for fossil fuels. He is an apologist for this war to control fossil fuels. The truth of the matter is, clean energy is now much cheaper than fossil fuel energy. We're an electric revolution the world over. That's why I'm insisting that the electric monopolies have local competition to drive down costs for Californians. That's why I'm saying we should triple the tax credit for people to buy EVs, because EVs are the absolute future. The truth of the matter is, it's very simple in terms of what we have to do in terms of energy. We need to make the polluters pay. We have to take environmental justice at the beginning of every conversation. And we need to deploy the clean energy technology that is here, that is invented by Californians, that will allow us to build huge companies all over the world. Right now, Donald Trump is fighting for the buggy whip. He is fighting for the black and white TV. He is fighting for the best. The truth is, this world is moving to electricity at warp speed on every continent. And the United States is still hanging on to the past.
I believe he called you ridiculous. Was that your word, Mr. Steyer?
I think that was my word.
Would you like to respond, Mr. Hilton, to that charge?
Again, I don't want to respond to silly insults, but I'll take the substantive point.
They like each other,
First of all, when
dude,
Tom
I'm telling
talks
you.
about
Steyer,
tripling
Hilton,
subsidies
Bianco.
for electric vehicles, let's be clear what that is. That is higher taxes on hardworking Californians driving their gas cars and trucks every day so that Tom's rich friends can feel virtuous about saving the climate. The truth is we need common sense on climate change. It doesn't make sense to import oil from halfway around the world, increasing carbon emissions in the name of climate. It doesn't make sense to allow mega wildfires in our forests that actually release more carbon dioxide than what is saved by all these years of climate policy.
Mr. Steyer?
Look, I think that description of how we should handle the gasoline crisis is not real world. The truth of the matter is, we're paying gasoline prices based on world prices. We're not paying gasoline prices based on what it costs to get oil in California. We're paying world prices.
So why are they $2 higher here than everywhere else?
That is why they've gone up $1.50, Steve, because of the war in Iran.
But it's
that is not
because of
all
your
of a sudden
policies.
the costs in California went by $1.50. Drilling more in California is not going to change the price we pay at the pump. The price we pay at the pump is what the oil companies gouge us for because they're charging us what everyone else in the world pays.
Mayor Villaraigosa, can you respond to this in terms of, as someone who was the mayor of Los Angeles, Mr. Hilton is saying the climate regulations don't work, don't actually help the climate. Mr. Steyer is saying they do.
Mr. Hilton is wrong, but let me be clear. I had a 100% record on the environment in the 6 years I was in the legislature. I passed the Carl Moyer Act, which was the biggest effort to clean up the air since the Clean Air Act. When I was mayor of Los Angeles, the largest city in this state, I reduced greenhouse gases by 28% below Kyoto levels, #1 American city, #5 in the world. But we can't keep on putting these policies on the backs of working people.
Exactly.
We've had this conversation, Alex, many times. We have the highest gas prices because we overregulate gas in this state. And yes, it's true, the Iranian war has picked them up even further. But we need to have a
the hell's
balance.
the
An
Iranian?
all of the above solution like Norway. Norway is one of the greenest countries in the world, and they produce their own oil and gas. That's how they green Norway.
Congresswoman Porter, I
dude,
want to ask you
he
about
has the
something
largest
that is a huge
population of
conversation
Iranians in Los
Washington. You
Angeles, and
mentioned
he can't
your
even pronounce it
whiteboard
right.
use, that you were famous for when you served in Congress. A recent poll found that 56% of likely California primary voters think the next governor should make investigating fraud in government programs a high priority. The president has named Vice President J.D. Vance as the nation's fraud czar. As you know, he brings up California a lot and has made clear that he has set his sights on California. Do you believe that's a good thing?
So we should all care where our tax dollars go, whether we're paying, a low rate like Tom compared to the rest of us or a rate that's higher. We all should want our tax dollars to go to work. I think Tom wants even his 13% compared to our 20% to go to work. So fraud is real. It happens. Government waste, mismanagement, failure to have audits, failure to implement government recommendations. That's why I chose to serve on the Oversight Committee and hold Democratic leadership and Republican leadership, Trump and Biden, to account for those programs. But there's nothing special about Californians. That is political theater coming from J.D. Vance. Fraud occurs because government leaders don't think hard and design programs clearly to guard against fraud. It happens on both sides of the aisle, and it's going to take somebody who has a track record of protecting consumers and doing government oversight in order to change that.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Sheriff Bianco, on the program itself and investigating fraud, and she's saying that it's political theater that is coming from the federal government.
It's only political theater if the fraud is happening and it happened on our watch. And so the Democrats in California don't want anybody to believe that there's fraud in California. But yet our own state government has said that we are one of the most wasteful state governments in the entire country. The waste, fraud, and the abuse in California government is the worst in the entire country. That comes from our own state government. If we are not going to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse, all of their pie in the sky policies, they certainly are not going to pay for them unless they tax you more, that's all we're hearing from them is what you started in the very beginning about how bad California is. And we aren't talking about the policies that are going to fix it because it's their policies that broke it. We've talked about them arguing about Mr. Becerra and about Trump ruining everything.
Let's hear your policy,
Mr.
Bianco.
It is Democrat policies in California that have failed us in every question you've asked that
Sheriff.
we haven't answered.
Mayor Villaraigosa, this next question is for you. In 2008, California voters voted for a high-speed rail system from L.A. to San Francisco that was supposed to be done by 2020 and cost around $30 billion. It's now 2026. It's not even close to being done, and the estimated cost has ballooned to $230 billion. Mayor, your opponent, Steve Hilton, says that on his first day in office, he would kill this project, quote, stone dead. Would you?
No. And let me just first speak about waste and fraud. I can acknowledge that there has been waste and fraud in this state. There was $250 million in just one hospice facility. We spent $24 billion on homelessness, and homelessness went up. Why would I continue to support high-speed rail? Because when the subway to the sea was dead, and I became mayor, I said I was going to bring in the best and the brightest from around the world. We did. And then
hey, shout out to Mercado Media in the chat. What's up, Merc?
Approve it. And that subway's going to get built. We've had incompetence, maybe fraud, but for sure, we've made mistakes with respect to this. As governor, I will do what I did as mayor, build more transportation than anybody in the United States of America.
Mr. Hilton.
So high-speed rail is an example of the fraud. They spent billions of dollars I don't know where the money's gone. It certainly hasn't gone into building anything that actually works. And I just want to make one broader point about fraud. I'm actually running this race in a different way than we've seen before. I've put together a team to run with me for their other statewide offices, and along with my running mate,
Hey guys,
State
throw some
Controller,
throw
Herb
Mercado
Morgan,
Media some
and
subs
Michael
if you
Gates
haven't.
for Attorney General, and Gloria Romero for Lieutenant
Extremely,
Governor. We've
extremely
actually
good
been
on the ground
investigating the
journalism
fraud.
and takes out.
Our surveys so far suggest that there, in the last 5 years in California, we've had $425 billion of fraud. That's around $80 billion a year, around 20% of the budget.
Thank you, sir.
And our team is going to stop it and prosecute it and give money
Alex,
back
Thank you,
to
sir.
Alex,
Con-
if I could just chime in on this.
Real quickly, Mayor.
Yeah, well, first of all, election denial certainly is running a campaign in a different way. But look, on high-speed rail, it shouldn't cost us more to get to Modesto than it's cost us to get to the moon. And it's not either or. The answer is accountability. We are spending billions of dollars before we ever put a shovel in the ground, paying consultants and lawyers for endless bureaucracy. As governor, I will demand fundamental reform of CEQA, of all of the rules, the environmental laws, the litigation around these projects so that we get to building faster. It goes back to your climate point as well. We can't modernize our grid if we can't build.
Thank you, sir. Congresswoman Porter, this question's to you. Let's talk
Oh,
about one of
God,
the
here
biggest
she
industries
comes.
here in California, Hollywood. Film production has been leaving Hollywood for years.
Get out of my
State
shot!
recently expanded the film tax credit to $750 million in an effort to bring those productions back. Some of your opponents here on stage think that tax credit should be unlimited. Do you?
Yes, I think we need to be competitive in California. I see a lot of people who've been in office 30 years in California, been in different elected positions on this stage, and they're patting themselves on the back when we didn't acknowledge that we are in a competition in California. It's much more expensive and much more difficult to bring any industry back than it is to hang on to it in the first place. So California's in competition. It's a competition we can and must win. We have the most talented workforce. We have the best higher education system, but we do have to have competitive policies.
Mayor Villaraigosa.
You know, when I was mayor of Los Angeles, I'd walk down a red carpet and I'd say the following, that the jobs behind the camera are more important than the people in front. 200,000 jobs we had, and we've lost them. This election is an existential election for Hollywood. So, yes, we do need an unlimited, uncapped tax credit. One. Two, it needs to be above and below the line. The notion, too many people in Sacramento believe it should just go to camera operators and,
It's up
makeup
209.
people. It has to go to everyone.
That's
and
time, sir.
707
So that's
here.
what I'll do
Thank
when
you.
I'm governor.
All right, while we're on the topic of Hollywood, let's give the voters a chance to get to know you all a little bit. This is a rapid fire question. You know, we've done this stuff in the past. It's for each of you. Which actor would you want to play you in a movie about your life? I'm
Liam
going to
Neeson.
each of you think of which actor would play you in a movie about your life. Mayor Mahan, starting with you.
Oh, boy.
Keanu Reeves.
You're going to have to come back to me. I don't know.
I got one.
Russell Crowe in The Gladiator. How's that?
Okay, Javier Becerra.
Antonio Banderas.
Oh, damn. All right. All right.
I have no idea.
Tom Selleck.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good one. Clint Eastwood.
Okay, Mr. Hilton.
Jeffrey
I think there's
Epstein.
only one choice, really. Jason Statham.
Oh, I was wrong.
Okay,
I was
Mr.
wrong.
Steyer.
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck. Okay, the coming back, I guess, to do that. Mr. Congresswoman Porter.
Tina Fey.
All right. Mr. Mayor.
At the Hollywood event when I was mayor, Antonio Banderas said he wanted to play me. So I said
Oh, my
yes.
God.
So I got to go with Antonio
We're getting
Banderas.
Antonio
Continue
Banderas lots
ass
of work
MAGA
doing this
mega
tonight,
church.
or at least increasing his
Pastor
job out of this. We'll be
Antonio.
back with more of the California governor debate right here
Jesus.
on CNN.
This is getting rough, man. This is getting rough. This is God. It reminds me of that South Park episode. The options are between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. I'm feeling those vibes right now, guys. Except I gotta say right now, like I said, everybody's got gray or scandal or whatever. Right now, the most experience by default is Becerra. He has the most experience. I like his idea about giving first-time home buyers a tax credit for the down payment for housing. I really like that. I like him talking about giving a 0% loan for people who go on LOA if they get sick or hurt. We don't have that here in California. That would be great. That would be great. So I mean, we have paid time off. We do have a safety net too. If you are hurt, the state will come in and do state disability. But a zero down loan to pay your mortgage while you are out of work would alleviate a lot of stress and give people time to heal, right? Because a lot of people get hurt in California. There's a lot of business here. Everybody hates on California, but this is where the money is. And there's a lot of business here too. But the businesses, they are under a lot of strain also from workers' comp claims. A lot. It's just the nature of the beast here. That Mahan guy talking about how everything needs to be tech. He's being paid. His top supporters are the Epstein class tech bros. I mean, it's already, everybody knows that. Like, so one of the people that was right behind him, a big time supporter, was on Epstein Island and had numerous visits and business deals with Ghislaine Maxwell. That is a fact. So Mahan, San Jose, he's not. No, he needs to go. Katie Porter, no, too cringe, too much going on there. So right now, like I said, I mean, I'm not against having a woman candidate. I was kind of hoping for a female change to California to bring a different perspective, because I do feel like that's needed here. But I'm not going to vote for a woman just because she's a woman. Katie Porter is not the right one. Who else we got? Fucking Antonio, Mayor Antonio from LA with 1%, who doesn't have a chance. Good grief. And Bianco, no. Oathkeeper, no. So not doing it. Hilton, no. Fox News contributor, ass, no. Nope. So right now, where I'm at, if I'm going to express my opinion, it's just my opinion. I'm just got a guy on the internet, right, who's been paying attention, doing a lot of research. Right now, I'm saying Becerra is probably the best candidate for California. I'm gonna say it. I could be completely wrong though. That's just the thing. So there's a lot to it, and he's got scandal too. He's not without shade. So there's not going to be a perfect candidate. There's not. This is all big fallout after Swalwell too. I was 2 feet away from Swalwell to No Kings 2.0 too. I had front row, on the ground, independent journalist coverage of that, and he was right next to me. I'm like, oh hey, we know this guy. Oh yeah. Well, we didn't know this guy. Turns out he couldn't keep his pee-pee where it's supposed to be, away from his 20-something-year-old interns. So there's a lot to this. Policy-wise, though, I think Becerra has the strongest policies from what I've researched so far. Coming from an ex-Republican here, guys. Ex-Republican turned independent. Because I can't do MAGA. I can't do what they've done to our country so far. The polarization, the hate speech, everything else. How they divided us. How they're pitching us against each other. The pendulum swinging all the way to the right. And gosh dang it, now it's going to shoot to the left, and we have to be careful where it shoots, because you best believe the same billionaire class is sitting there waiting to grab us again on the other side. This is pre-thought out. So, got to be careful. Got to read. I haven't read any of the other laws on the bill yet. I got my pamphlet today. I'm going to dive into it here when I can. Let's get back into the race. Here we go.
And welcome back to the California governor primary debate. It is no secret to anyone on this stage tonight that this race has a very crowded field. And there are a lot of voters that are undecided, and many of them might be having some trouble distinguishing you from one another, seeing what sets you, each of you apart in your campaigns. And so we want to give you an opportunity to tell us one characteristic that sets you apart from everyone else on stage here tonight. You have 30 seconds each. Mayor Villaraigosa, I'll start with you.
When I make a mistake, I'm accountable. I'm willing to say I made a mistake. When I have to take on my friends because there's a big, tough issue, I'm willing to do it. I think character matters. and I have the character to be governor of this state. I'm willing to take on my friends. It's easy to take on your opponents, but when you can take on your friends in a crisis, that's the measure of a man or woman.
Congresswoman?
I have shown time and time again that I am willing to push for politics to be better, for government to be better. I'm the only candidate on this stage that refuses corporate donations. That's something that year after year, election after election, Californians say they're tired of having candidates who are beholden to their donors rather than fighting for them. We have to live our values in California and elect someone who will only focus on the future of California, not on giving away campaign favors.
Mr. Steyer?
This is a simple campaign because corporations are driving up the cost for working Californians to a place where they can't afford it. And I'm the person taking on the corporate special interests. I've beaten them in the past 3 times, and they are spending millions, tens of millions of dollars against me. That's how you know that I'm the person who wants to change things, because they're spending tens of millions of dollars against me. Working people are supporting me. Environmentalists are supporting me. Progressives are supporting me. I'm the change agent on this stage.
And Mr. Hilton, what's the characteristic that defines you from the rest of the stage?
Well, if you ask my wife and my sons, often to their great embarrassment, it's that I absolutely hate bureaucracy and ridiculous, pointless rules and regulations that crush the life out of people and businesses and daily experience that we have. And so I just want to tell everyone, I'm going to be relentless, absolutely relentless in fighting the nonsense that makes life so difficult for each and every one of you. I will not rest until we restore sanity to our beautiful state of California.
Sheriff Bianco?
Yeah, I'm the only one on this stage that has 33 years of proven public service. The decisions that I make have life and death consequences, and those decisions are made on a daily basis, and I'm the only one that makes those. I'm also the only one on this stage that is working every single day with the consequences of the failed policies of everyone else on this stage. And the difference is I'm not one of them.
Secretary Becerra, what's your characteristic?
I think the fact that I have the experience to take on the toughest challenges, whether it's Donald Trump in his first term or whether it was COVID, something we'd not experienced in our lifetime. I've been able to prove that I can balance a budget bigger than the budget of the state of California. I've proven that I know how to tackle a national state of emergency because I've had to do that in the past as Secretary of Health and Human Services. And I proved that I can fight, but more importantly, I can win. And so when someone goes into that governor's office, they're going to have to take a chair, and there will not be training wheels there for them. You have to deliver. And I have a proven record of delivering results. I don't just make inflated promises.
Mayor Mahan?
I'm relentless about delivering results in people's lives. I started my career as a public school teacher in East Side San Jose and fought every day to get each of my students on grade level. As mayor, when the bureaucracy and the establishment pushed back against solutions that would get people into treatment, or thought that it was okay to spend $1 million a door and make people wait out in tent encampments to come indoors, I fought against that. When people said we couldn't build housing, I fought to speed up permitting and reduce fees, and now we have homes under construction. I'll fight every day to make life better for Californians.
Thank you, Mayor Mahan. Thank you to all the candidates for joining us here tonight for CNN's California Governor primary debate. Thank you to Alex Michelson and to our whole team. And also a special thank you to our host, East Los Angeles College.
And thanks to everybody for watching. We encourage you to get out there and vote. There's a lot to break down. A lot just happened. So if your head's spinning, Abby Phillip and her team at Newsnight is going to help break it all down. Stay with us right here on CNN.
Oh, there it is, guys. I don't know. I felt a lot more confident. Before this day. There's a lot. I have to research a little more for sure, but I'm still sticking with Becerra, I think, as the candidate I want. Personally, being that I'm a native California, not like 25% of these MAGA trolls in the chat right now aren't even from here. So that's what that is. But I mean, it is what it is. I feel like right now Becerra might be the best. I'm not huge on what Katie Porter's doing. I'm just not. I don't think Mahan is a solid dude because of the tech oligarchy that's backing him. I think that's piss poor decision for him to have them behind his corner. Probably, I don't even know how much money he's accepting from them. I don't trust the tech oligarchs, especially the ones that were on Epstein Island. That's just that's an automatic deal breaker for me. So right now, where it stands, I am saying probably going to stick with Becerra. And that's just what it is so far. He is the most qualified candidate. So that's my take on that. I know you guys in the chat, everybody was going a million different directions. You know, which is fine. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of options. You know, not really the greatest options, but not the worst. I mean, Becerra's not the worst. Becerra's not the worst. The scandal behind it sucks. The scandal sucks. He has scandal. You're looking at, talk about scandal. How about ballot snatching from Riverside as a sheriff? And then having the courts tell you, no, bad. That's wild. I don't feel he should be up there. Bianco should be up there at all. It's terrible, right? That's terrible thing to do. So we'll see how the lawsuit turns out on that as well, guys. If you want more from me later too, I don't know if you. Thank you for everybody being here. Let's finish the poll. End poll. All right. Have you hit the like and subscribe? 42% said no. 70 or 30% said yes. 21% said this channel sucks. And then 7% said I voted for this. So, hey, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for everybody who hit the like, subscribe. Thank you for everybody who became a member today. If you want more from me, I am going to be over at my gaming channel. Let me just plug it real quick here. At the Chunger Games. I'll be over here. I'll just play for a little bit, probably in like 20 minutes. I don't think I could redirect. But I do a lot of DayZ, zombie apocalypse survival. Really into that. Really have a lot of fun getting my ass kicked. It's a lot of fun. If you're into zombies and you're into survival games, you're more than welcome to come over and join me over there. Yeah, that's what I got for you guys. What do you guys think? Who's going to be the next governor of California? I'm curious. Put it in the chat who you guys think it's going to be. I'm curious. God, can I even redirect my own channel? Here we go. Yeah, I can redirect you. I'm going to redirect you over to my DayZ stream here in a bit. There we go. That's set up. All right, let me read the chat here. Did I miss anybody's support? Becerra? You going for Becerra? You going for Bianco? You think he's going to be it? Hoping for Steyer, huh? Hilton? God, Hilton, come on. Yeah, Becerra. So Becerra. Some hoping for Steyer. Some people not hoping for him. Steyer or Porter, we don't need the same wannabe Yosemite Sam. Are you talking about Yosemite Sam ass? Is that Bianco? What? Yosemite Sam. Becerra. I see Becerra. F. Bianco. Alright, yeah. Oh, he's an Oath Keeper. That blows my mind, dude. That's a disqualifier right there. Arc Raiders is cool. I see Arc Raiders. I play some Arc Raiders. Not a lot, though. Like tonight, it's gonna be a short run of DayZ. I gotta go see if my base is still there. Alright, guys. I'm gonna hit you with an outro. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Hit the notification as well. And leave a comment after the stream. Alright, guys? Alright, peace out.
They wave their flags like they own the sky, shouting loud, but they don't know why. Books untouched, their minds run dry. Truth's a stranger, they pass right by. Oh, false flags flying high, empty hearts where the truth won't lie. They scream of love for the land they claim, but their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their hearts where the truth won't lie. They scream of love for the land they claim, but their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. But their wicked deeds bring only shame. A patriot's heart should beat with grace, not with fists or a hate-filled face. If love's the seed, then let it grow, not in shadow